Hello, good evening. It is Friday. It is a quarter, well, just gone 7:45. It is, of course, the Arsenal Women's Show. My name is Richard, and we have got a busy show for you tonight. We have been off, we had a week off, of course, because of the international break. We are going to look at the international. It wasn't a bad international break for the Arsenal players, was it? We're going to look back on the win over West Ham, which seems like a long time ago. We're also going to look at the manager situation, of course. No new managers yet been appointed, so we're going to look at that situation as well. And of course, this weekend on Sunday, we have got a massive game away at Manchester United, another one of the big teams we're playing very early in this season. And this one, we can't afford to drop any more points. So it's a big game. We're going to look ahead to that. Loads and loads of stuff, of course. As always, your comments and questions as well. It's all coming up the other side of this. And of course, joining us, as always, we've got Andreas, Lord Andreas, of course, as we have to call him now. We have to bow down to the Lord, of course. And of course, Ange as well. We have got another guest coming as well very, very shortly. I mean, Andreas, it's been a couple of weeks break since we've been here. Lots has gone on, I suppose. What are you obviously looking forward to the show, first of all?
Yeah, looking forward to the show. I think it's a lot to discuss with the manager situation and the two big WSL games that are coming. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about everything and to hear your opinions and to read what our viewers have to say.
Yes, they've always got some very good comments, haven't they? The guys who watch the show with fantastic stuff. And Angie, of course, as well. Good to see you back. Have you had a good break?
I have, yeah. I've had a week off. Whoop whoop. Yes. Well, I wouldn't say deserved, but needed for sure. And good to be back.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's I know sometimes we're going to have a similar issue next Friday because there's a game on, but we might try and squeeze a show in just before that one actually, but we'll see. And also as well, joining us tonight, another debut on the channel. We had a debut, of course, with Ange a few weeks ago. We've now got another debut. Is of course Mike. How you doing? Good to see you.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to be here.
Hey,
thanks for welcoming me on.
No problem at all. It's good to have you. Good to have some new face on the channel as well, isn't it? Good to see. I know you was trying your best to get me a ticket for the Newcastle game tomorrow as well, wasn't you?
Yeah, I'm still trying. It might turn up, but yeah, it's such a tough one. Once people have got those people who've got the tickets now, I think are the ones who are going. You don't get many spares at this late day in the proceedings.
No, you don't, unfortunately. But anyway, we'll have to organise a bit earlier next time, I suppose. Leaving it to the last minute is never going to be useful, is it? And we've already got a few people in the chat. We've got Emerson. How you doing? Good to see you. What somebody going to says, is Caldente in the squad? As far as I know, I don't see any reason why she wouldn't be, unless anyone knows differently. The press conference said there was no injuries. Greg says, evening, Rich, and all in the chat. How you doing? Good to see you. Emerson says, hello to, and actually Emma's not on tonight, but Mike's in his place tonight, so that's always good. And Emerson says hello to Andreas. Greg says, heard Renee say today she's in charge for next international break. Yeah, we'll talk about that as well a little bit later, obviously the manager situation. But as usual on the show, we do things generally fairly chronologically, so we are going to go back a couple of weeks to Renee's first WSL game as interim manager, of course, at West Ham. Now, of course, it wasn't necessarily the straightforward victory that we maybe anticipated it might have been, but we have had problems at West Ham before. The main difference was this time, of course, we've got the 3 points. We made a little bit hard work of it. I suppose it wasn't the best performance that we've ever produced, but I think at the point that we were at, certainly at that time, the only thing that mattered was winning that game, finding a way to win. And we did find a way to win. And in the end, it was the substitutes who made the difference. Yeah. Stina Blackstenius, of course, winning a penalty and setting up the second goal. And, of course, Rosa Kafaji there from the picture who got that second goal as well. And she made a big impact from the bench. And I think that's a good sign, isn't it? You obviously you want to have a good, strong start in 11, but you need to have game changers on the bench who can come on and make the difference. And in this particular game, that's exactly what happened. And maybe in some of the previous games, it hasn't quite worked. You know, we've hit the bar instead of the ball going in. And this particular game, maybe it went our way a little bit more than it has done. And we got 2 goals in the second half. We got the win. And that was the important thing. But I don't think too many of us at the end of the season will look back on that game and say, wow, what a great game, what a great performance, because it was far from either of those 2 things. But we won the game. I mean, Andreas, you must have been pleased with the result, if not necessarily the performance that got it.
I'm pleased with the result, yes. And the performance, no. At halftime, I would have said it's another Everton game. And it was looking as if we will see another disappointing 0-0. What has changed to the Jonas time was only that Renée made the subs earlier. She made it at 60th minute, and she realized that, let's say this, what we criticized all the time. She saw that her plan A didn't work, and then she made 4 subs after 60 minutes and brought in a plan B. That's what I always criticize on Jonas, that he doesn't react or react too late. He changed, after 70 minutes, he took off a left back and brings in another left back when the match is 0-0. So that was wrong. And Renée reacted in another way, and the subs made the change, and the subs won the game. It was not a great performance. Even after the 60th minute, it was not great. But we scored, and it was a clear penalty, and we scored another one. I just checked the statistics: 67% ball possession, 11 shots, but only 7 shots in the box. So it's still, we are still not able to shoot outside the box, but at least we are allowed to do this. And under Jonas, I had the feeling it was forbidden to shoot outside the box. I know you see it different, but after all, it counts that we won the 3 points, and it was really, really necessary to get these 3 points, and for the self-confidence, for everything, for the whole situation. What if we had a draw? What would have the club to do? Could they go on another 4 or 5 weeks with Renée if she doesn't win a match like this in West Ham, who is the weakest team in the league? So let's be happy with the 3 points and go look forward and go on. That's all you can say after this match.
Exactly that. Yeah, I mean, we said before the game that we had to win it. We did win it in the end, and yes, it wasn't a great performance. We know that. We can't try and pretend it was, and it was never probably going to be, because when you're going through the sort of period that we've been going through prior to that game, all the upheaval at the club, it's not quite been working on the pitch, and whatever else the reasons are, it was never going to be like that we would go to West Ham and win 5-0 and play brilliant football, because that's not really how football works. It is a confidence game. It's a matter of rebuilding a little bit. And yes, it was good that Renée did make those changes early, realised something needed to be done. We was all watching the game thinking something's got to happen, something's got to change, because we was never going to, it never looked as though we were going to win the game otherwise. So that was a positive, yes, definitely. And hopefully that's a good sign for the next few games that Renée is going to be in charge for, because similar things might well happen. I mean, Ange, did you enjoy the game? I know it wasn't a great performance, but when we win, it's always makes it seem better than maybe sometimes than what it is, doesn't it? Because we've won.
I think, it was the second half for me. Yeah, we know she made the right changes. It definitely come alive more. We didn't concede anything. Yeah, everybody did. It took first half was first half, but. And most importantly, it's a tough act for Renée and Dove. Real tough act. But she got through it. The players seem pretty comfortable with her, from what I can see. I know it's only been 2 games, but they seem pretty comfortable with her. Well, they got
I mean, they're used to her, aren't they? Because she's been working there for a year or so before. Yeah. So, but that's a good sign. It is good that they feel. So they seem relaxed around her and stuff like that. They can seem to be able to relate to her quite well, which is important, isn't it? Because, did all of them really react positively to Jonas all the time? Probably not, let's be honest. As much as I thought Jonas was doing a decent job, maybe he didn't have all the players on his side, did he? And it seems as though maybe
No.
Renee's got more of that, hasn't she? Which I think we
Yeah.
need, don't we? Because you need to have your manager on. You need to have the players need to be on board with the manager, don't they? Or you're never going to get anywhere. And maybe that was part of the problem that we had before. I mean, Mike, what did you make of that West Ham game? Because, you know we can play a lot better. We need to play a lot
Absolutely.
better, and we're going to have to play a lot better. But we got the job done ultimately, and hopefully it's something to build on, isn't it, going forward?
Yeah, like you say, the first half was the first half, and there wasn't a lot going on. And I think the ladies and the men both at times struggle against those teams who play either a low block or a narrow at the back. And I thought that was the first half. We struggled with that. And I think the second half, when she did bring those substitutes on, that 4 in one go, but the game did change then, and we started to move the ball quicker. And one thing that I spotted that I thought that did make a difference was Mariana moved from the wing, and she moved into like a number 10, and she started to dictate a bit more then, and we started to move the ball a bit quicker. And I think that made the difference, because then like Stenius ran in a couple of times, she got the penalty, and we just moved the ball better. And really, it begs the question, why didn't we start off like that? Rather, did we work against that low block? And we, like with Andreas, when he mentioned the stats, we made 625 passes compared to 308. And I think a lot of those 600 passes were around the edge of the box, where they were just blocking and going to hit us on the break. And we just can't find a way. And to me, I'm not a coach, but to me, if you're going to have a low block, you've got to get the ball from defence. When they've had an attack and it's with the keeper or a goal kick, you move the ball quickly before they can set up. And I just think sometimes we're so slow in our movement. And, you know, I can say this to the men as well. By the time we've actually got in a position where we've got people on the wing or people making runs, they're already set up. And if we move the ball quicker and we have runners, and that's the only way I know how to beat a low block. And it took 70 minutes for 4 substitutes to come on and Mariana to move into the middle from the wing to get a result. And then we were, you know, it made a difference, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was key, wasn't it? I mean, and that's what you want from a manager, don't you? You want a manager who can solve problems at the time they're happening. It's no good being, I think in the past, and maybe Jonas has done that a lot previously, is that we've always seemed to have been a reactive team that reacts to what, you know, rather than be proactive and make a change to make a difference before we need to. And that's what I thought Renee did well. She made those changes. Yeah, she could have waited another 10 minutes and hope for the best, which is what Jonas was doing. But she didn't. She decided to react to the situation, go, right, I'm going to make this change. And it might have backfired. The shape of the team might have actually caused us more problems, and West Ham might have got a goal on the break and we might have lost the game. But to me, you don't win anything if you're not brave and you take chances and take risks. And that's what Renee did. And I like that. And it paid off, which is even better because now we're more likely to do it again because it worked. You've got to pick your moments. You can't do it in every single game against anybody. But yeah, you're right. The low block situation, we've always struggled with that. Last season in particular, that they were the games that we really, that's why we had such a good lot of results against the top teams, but against the more lower teams, we struggled because for that reason, because they've got no interest in attacking us because they know what'll happen. So they just all sit back, and we found that difficult. And against West Ham, it was the same for a long time, but then the changes made, and obviously we got the positive response to that, which is what we all needed. Because if, as Andrea said, if we hadn't won that game, then I mean that would have been the end of the league title. For definite, I mean, we're hanging on by a thread as it is. I don't think it's gone yet. I actually don't think it's completely gone yet. The game on Sunday might well decide that either way. We'll see. But I still think we're in it. Had we not beaten West Ham, we wouldn't have been. So that's how big a win that was. You know, and you know, Renee was part of that, making those changes. But you're right. I mean, what I don't understand is, you know, I love Stina Blackstenius and I love what she brings to the team. And I can never understand why, when you're playing a team like West Ham who are going to play like that, that's when you need a player like Stina starting the game, because of those runs she makes and she stretches the defence. And that's what's going to open it up. And that's what it did. It opened up she got the penalty, and then her run opened it up for the second goal as well. And had she started the game, we may have got goals earlier on. So I never quite understand why she's not starting more games against teams like that. You can understand maybe in some other games, is she going to be as effective in maybe against, I mean, she scored a few goals against Man City and Chelsea, but are they the games to start her, or would you more likely to start her against teams like West Ham who are going to sit deep and she's going to stretch them more? I don't know, but we've got a manager position going, Mike. Obviously, you seem to put some good tactical analysis there, so maybe you should apply it.
I wish.
Andreas has already turned the job down, so it's up for grabs.
Yeah, well, I was looking. I had a quick look today. I thought, who's the favourite, and it's a bit. It's not quite clear yet on who the favourites are, because I thought I made a quick list, and I thought depending on where you look, Casey Stoney's one of the favourites, but they're also talking about Nick Cushing, who's at Manchester City. He's got a good reputation. What was it? About 7 years, I think he had with City, won some trophies. But Casey Stoney's an ex-player, an ex-Arsenal player. I think she did a bit with England. I'm not sure, but she was definitely Man United. I think she brought them up, so she knows the league. But after those two, I don't really know who's going to know the league or even English football. Like, I don't think Jonas, he was from Sweden. And some of the other ones that I've looked, there's the German manager, the Swiss manager, and there's always people in America. But again, there aren't many to choose from there, really, besides Casey. There's Kelly Smith, of course. But
see, for me, Kelly Smith, we'd be going down a little bit of Arteta, someone who's not managed, who's maybe a coach, and I don't know if that's the right way forward. I think we need I agree, we need a manager that's managed. I think that's managed at the top level of women's football. Ideally, knows the WSL. That's the sort of manager we should be looking at, not bringing in. I mean, Jonas did okay, don't get me wrong, and he had no experience in the league, and he came in and did all right. But I think this time now, where we are, I think we need someone who knows the WSL and who's potentially managed in the WSL before. That would be my first choice, someone who's done that. And then if we can't get someone who's done that, then maybe look elsewhere. That would be my first port of call. But let the club decide who they think's best. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. At the moment, we're not really getting much clue, are we? It is something that we will have. We're going to talk about a bit more. But yeah, let's see what happens, because it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because there's not too many big candidates that stand out that are available.
No,
and that's a problem.
And also there's the thing with the men's England team. Do we want a foreigner as the England team? But I would say, when Arsenal are looking for a new manager, do they want a woman, a female manager, to manage the female team? I don't know. Does that make a difference?
I mean, I think it makes a difference in the sense that I think women understand women maybe more than men do because of biology, but I don't know. It's difficult to say, is it? Because we've had a lot of success. Most of our success, in fact, pretty much all our success historically, has been with a man as manager. We've had the odd women who has been manager briefly, but yeah, we've got a history of success with male managers. So I don't know whether or not that's something that could change. Obviously, it could change. I'm sure Ange would like a female manager, wouldn't you, Ange?
I'm going to say yes, but you know who I don't want, and we're not getting her. She's too expensive. She's happy in America. Leave it. Next. And we can't get Serena. No, I think it'd be good. It'd be good to get head coach, female. But like you say, there's not that many around. So,
and I just want the best candidate, whoever that is, if they're male or female. I'm not bothered. I'm not really bothered. It doesn't matter to me. And it's the same with all of this stuff, when they're giving the punditry on the TV, the presenters and all that kind of stuff. I don't care who they are, as long as they're the best that's available to do the job. whether they're male or whether they're female, whether they're English or whether they're foreign, makes no difference to me. Just get the best people. And from Arsenal perspective, I want to see the best people in the roles that are important, because that's the way you have success. Don't tick boxes and say, well, we need to have a female because we've never had one before, or we need to have a black manager because we've never had a black manager before. No, let's just get the best people. Doesn't matter. That's what we should. That's everybody should do that, not just Arsenal. That's how life should be. The best people should get the job, and that way, then nobody feels as though that doesn't create any problems. Then no one can have any issues with it. If you get the best you can get, that's all you can do. But yeah, obviously the manager situation is something that is going to ramble on now for the next few weeks after the obviously what was said today in the press conference from Rene. But you know, we'll talk about that obviously as time goes on. Terry says, "Get them likes up nice and early, people. Let's show our appreciation." Yeah, get like, give us a like. That'll be good, won't it? LG's with us said, "Evening, guys. I'm proud to say that the ruling party, BDP, in my country, Botswana, has finally lost the elections after 58 years in power." Wow, what a time to be alive. We were tired of these greedy leaders. Well, I mean, greedy leaders are everywhere, mate. It's not just in your country, it's in every country. But yeah, I mean, obviously that might be a positive change for you guys. We've had a change recently in our country, which hasn't been particularly positive, but there you go. That's life, isn't it? I suppose. You get what you get. Terry says, "Congrats, OG. We've got a bunch of numpties." Well, yeah, but we had a bunch of numpties before. We've got another bunch of numpties now, and we'll get another bunch of numpties next time, because that's been the story since I've been alive. That's what's been, whoever's been running the country has been exactly the same. It makes no difference. They're all greedy, that don't care about us as people. But anyway, we'll talk about politics maybe another time. And we've got Darren with us. He says, "Evening, Sir Rich, Lord and Lady A." And
Lady A, I like that.
Of course you are. Terry says, "Instead of having 600 plus touches, I'd sooner have 300 and make the 300 passes count." Well, yeah, exactly. Obviously, that's obvious, isn't it? We all want to see that, don't we? It's pointless having. I think with the men's team in particular, we seem to be quite happy having good stats, good passing stats, even though most of them are just Gabriel and Saliba passing to each other 50 times a game, rather than actually having some forward passes in the opposition box that's going to cause. But I think the women's team have been the same, certainly this season and bits of last season as well. Too many touches in areas of the pitch that don't matter. Or I wouldn't even count what they should do in the possession stats and the passes. You shouldn't count possession or passes in your own half of the pitch. They shouldn't even count.
Yeah, I agree. Or at least
only count in the other half of the pitch. That's the only time. That's the only thing that matters in an attacking sense. I don't care if we pass the ball between our back 450 times. Who cares?
Yeah.
It shouldn't even count. That's not important to the game. What's important to the game is what you do in the other end of the pitch. You've got to defend properly when the other team have got the ball, but that's them in possession. It's when you've got the ball, count your possession in the other half. That's what we should do. That should be the way forward. So there you go. Terry says here, "I don't care what gender our next manager. I just want to." Yeah, exactly. That's what we all want. We all want the best. We all want the best manager. We want the best coaches. We want the best of everyone. We want the best players as well, which we've got quite a few, which is quite good. Terry says, "Salty Emma's incoming." Sorry, Ange. I would like to think so.
No, it won't happen.
I don't think it's going to happen. As much as I would like it,
I think
No, she doesn't like us anyway.
I don't know if any of you guys saw it. There was a clip of she was on a podcast actually recently, talking about, you know, when she was invited to the Chelsea game she was actually invited by Vic Akers, and she sat with him in the stands.
Sure.
And she was talking about that. And she was talking about how much she really admires and loves Arsenal as a club. And I thought that was quite interesting, because the impression that she's always given is that she's very bitter and stuff about Arsenal, but actually she actually really loves Arsenal. And I do feel, and I've said this before, if she was offered the job, I think she would take it. Honestly, I do. And really? I know it wouldn't make everybody happy, but she is the best out there. We want the best. Let's get the best. But anyway, I don't think it would happen, because I don't think we can afford to buy her out of her contract in America. And I don't think it's the right time now for her. I think she's happy in America, but maybe in the future. But if we get the right manager now, we won't need it, will we? Because we'll go on and have great success, which is what we all want, obviously. Of course, after the West Ham game, we all had a bit of a break. We could sit back, put our feet up and watch a little bit of international football, which I know is not always the best thing, but I actually quite enjoyed this international break. And it wasn't a bad international break for our girls, was it? Now, of course, Leah Williamson's been in a big talking point, hasn't she, recently for her rather indifferent form, shall we? I don't want to criticise her particularly, but her form's not been great. We all know that. She seems distracted. She doesn't seem focused on football anymore. She's not played that many games. And of course, it was great for her. I mean, I thought she had a very poor game against Germany. And then she bounced back and scored that goal, of course, against South Africa, which you could see how much it meant to her on her 50th cap for England as well.
Yeah.
And it was nice that she got the goal. And it was obviously a good international break for a lot of our players. A lot of them seem to be scoring goals. Frida Minor scored 4 in one game, I think she did. So, Katie McCabe scored that goal from about halfway line against some team. I can't remember. They're not very good, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And they all seem to do well. I think 14 goals our girls scored in this international break between them. I mean, that's pretty good going, isn't it? Caitlin Ford got a couple of goals for Australia and stuff like that. So, I mean, Andrea, sometimes international breaks can be an absolute pain, but this one seemed to come at a good time for us, didn't it? We maybe needed a reset. The girls needed to go away, play for their countries. Leah Williamson mentioned it, didn't she? A different environment to be in was good for her. Yeah. And I think that this time, the international break has been a positive for us. Normally it's not, but I thought this time it was. The fact the girls have played so well, and maybe they can all come back now refreshed. I mean, Andreas, it was good to see so many of our players doing so well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and as Leah said in the press conference, the international break came at a good time for us this time, because they could be in another environment and play without pressure. Most of them could play without pressure as their teams are already qualified or had easier opponents. And it was good to see a lot of our girls scoring goals. Of course, they should have taken some to Sunday and score there, but Frida scored 4 goals in one match, and Kyra scored in her 50th cap for Australia this wonderful goal against Germany, and you could see how much it meant to every of our players. Leah, of course, scoring her goal. It was necessary, and it was different environment, a chance to reset and to not be under this pressure situation at Arsenal, and now come back. A lot of them are coming back with the confidence that they have scored, that they have won their games, and maybe it helps to come with a fresh mindset and look forward and have all this stuff leaving behind. It was a good international break for our players, but not for the Lionesses. I think we were not satisfied with both performances. The first one was without any defense against Germany, and the second one, a position side like South Africa, we should beat 3-4, 5-0 and not 2-1 and say, we were lucky in second half not to concede the equalizer. So, you have to see it different. For the Lionesses, it was not the best international break, but for our girls, it was good. And I hope they come with, after this reset and look forward, leave all this behind, and everybody says, oh, well, I'm able to score. I'm able to shoot from 20, 25 meters outside the box. Why not? We all proved that it's possible. Katie scored such a wonderful goal. Kyra, I hope you saw this. This was wonderful. And let's hope they have something in petto and can score goals in the next weeks for Arsenal, like they did for the national teams.
Exactly, and that's what we want to see, don't we? And it could well be a case of regaining some confidence from the performances that they've had in the last week or so for their nations, which is great if it does. Sometimes it works like that, doesn't it? Sometimes players go on international break when they're playing really well for Arsenal. They go away and maybe suffer a little bit of a slight knock, and it affects them a little bit, or maybe they don't play well, or they're on the bench and they come back and they're not so high and buzzing. Whereas this time, all of them should come back really, really confident going into Sunday's game, because they've all had such a great international. Well, most of them have had a great international break and contributed well and played well and scored goals. It's good. coming at this time for us, I think it was actually great to have a little bit of a break, a reset, get away, enjoy your football again, and come back and hopefully, I say, take that forward. I mean, obviously, you must have seen a few of the international goals that we've scored. Some of our players have done well, haven't they, in the last week or so?
It actually depresses me because they need to do it at Arsenal now.
Well, yeah, they do.
I love Kelly Smith. She was one of my original players, but there's the but coming. And yeah, of course, she ain't going to be our head coach. I don't know how well she's doing because she's the striker forward coach, whatever you want to call her. And it's not quite happening, is it?
No,
it's not. Consistent basis. No. And I really don't want to question that, but you have to.
Yeah. Well, you do. I don't necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily a case of whatever she's doing isn't working. I think there's a few things that's happened. I think one, it's the tactics of the team in general aren't helping get the best out of the forward players, and I think that's probably the main thing. I think what Kelly Smith is probably working on will be there more individually with their finishing and their positioning in the box and all this kind of stuff. I think that's more what her job is about, as opposed to tactically organising the team in the attacking sense. I believe she's more working with the players individually and working on with them, which is great. But I don't necessarily blame her for the fact that it's not gelling we haven't been gelling as a team in the finals. That's more of a team tactic kind of. Well, it'll be all the coaches together, I suppose, that come up with the tactics for each game. But she's part of that. But I don't necessarily think it's just her that all the responsibility goes to, you know. And I think that maybe, but it needs to. Maybe the fact that they've gone away, a lot of these players have gone away and scored goals for their country, might mean now when they come back, it is a confidence thing as well, isn't it? If you're not particularly feeling confident and you've got the ball maybe 20 yards out and there's an opportunity to shoot, you might think, oh, I don't want to risk it because I'm not confident. But if you've just scored one like Katie McCabe did, she's not going to come if she plays on Sunday. She's in a similar sort of position or outside the box. She's not going to think, well, can I score? She's just scored one, so she think, actually, I can do this again and go for it more. Maybe that might be what it's needed. I don't know, but we'll have to see. Is it a tactic thing that they're being restricted, or is it just a confidence thing? Is it a bit of both? We'll find out, I suppose, over the next couple of weeks or so, I guess, won't we? But I was pleased for this break. I mean, Mike, you must have enjoyed seeing how well a lot of our girls played in the last sort of international game. It's been good, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's not just scoring the goals as well. It's also how well they're playing and the sort of performance they're putting in. And one of the things I thought before the break, I thought at least some of our girls at a minimum are going to get minutes in the legs, because maybe they're not moving the ball as fast as we want. Maybe they're a bit leggy. Maybe they're not quite fit enough. I don't know. And also the other thing is, once they've gone now and maybe got a bit more confidence, a bit more minutes in the legs, they're not going to suddenly, if Renee suddenly says, right, we're all going to move the ball quicker, and then they come out against West Ham and they all move the ball quicker. It's something that they're going to have to build up. They're going to have to be talking about it. Half time, they're going to have to say, right, we're still not moving it quick enough. And, you know, and there's the change isn't going to happen overnight. But I think, like you say, as long as the performance is there, the confidence is growing, they're getting minutes in the legs. That was the thing I was looking for more than anything. And then it was, you know, it was the icing on the cake. The bonus was that there was a lot of goals from our girls. So let's hope now that, like Anne says, we can start doing it for Arsenal.
Because that's what we want. You know, it's all very well Frida Marnum scoring 4 goals for Norway. Brilliant. But score 4 goals for Arsenal and we'll be even more happy for you. Because that's what we want to see, don't we? You know, but you're right. Confidence is a big thing in sport and in football. So the fact that they've all done so well, or so many of them have done so well, is a positive thing. I mean, I'm a little bit worried for the Lioness girls, because, you know, we know Leah Williams has got some issues still. She didn't play particularly well for England. Leslie Russo she had some good moments and some not so good moments. I thought she was really good in the first half against Germany, actually, and then the second half she faded away a little bit. And of course, she didn't start the game against South Africa. She came on, and, you know, when the game was maybe going against us a little bit at that point, and, you know, she tried her best but never really got much impact in that game. And, you know, it was maybe not a great. It maybe wasn't a great international window for some of the Lionesses, the girls. I mean, Beth didn't play particularly well for England. I didn't think Leah didn't score a goal, but she didn't play particularly well. But let's hope that overall it's a positive, and most of them have come back buzzing and ready to play and ready to reproduce those performances for Arsenal over the next few weeks, because we've got some big games to come and important games that we can't afford to drop points. Terry says Leah's playing like she prefers playing the piano and selling KFC. Something ain't right, in my opinion. I mean, I think something isn't right. Absolutely. I think her focus has switched. I think her injury, being out of the game for so long, she got some interest outside of football, which is natural because she can't play football. So she was obviously rehabilitating. She had a bit more time on her hands. She did seem to find other interests. And as that taken her focus away from football a little bit, bearing in mind she's played at the top level for such a long time now, it can happen. And maybe that's we don't know. Maybe other stuff's going on in the background that we don't know about. But yeah, I don't think it's all about just her injury and struggling to get her form back. I think it's more of a mental thing with her. Something's not right.
Yeah,
whether it's a focus. When they were saying, we mentioned this on the show a few weeks ago, when they were talking about, obviously, when Jonas was saying in his press conference about she had a concussion, she didn't play for about 2 or 3 games. I don't think that was a concussion. I think something else was going on, and it was used as an excuse to give to the media and everybody to not make a big issue out of it. And whether Leah wanted that to be that way or whether that was what the club decided, I think something else is going on with Leah. I don't know whether you saw a press conference before the Germany game, and she looked very unhappy. She looked very distracted. And I thought, that's not the Leah that we know. That's not the Leah that we've known for the last 10 years or however long it's been. You know what I mean? That was a totally different Leah, and something is not right. But whatever it is, hope that she can sort it out. And the people at the club, I'm sure she's getting help if she needs it. But we want to see her get back to the Leah Williamson that we know is there, that's played so well for so long, been the leader of the Lionesses and been a leader for us on the pitch so many times and stuff like that. I mean, I was almost in that Germany game, especially in the first half, and even in the South Africa game, I was actually feeling a little bit sad to see such a great player playing like that. It sort of made me sad, really, because when you see a player decline that much, it so quickly, it almost feels like, I don't know, I felt sad for her, and I hope that is just a temporary thing, because obviously, form is temporary, class is permanent, and let's hope she can get her form back and she'll be fine. Let's hope so. But something's definitely not right there, absolutely, but let's see. LG says, I thought this was an Arsenal women's show. Some of us are not English and don't care about the England national team. But now we understand. Of course, everyone's English, but we're trying to sort of say about all our girls who play for different countries have all done well. Obviously, our focus is more on the Lionesses, because I watched those 2 games. I didn't watch all the rest of the games because they all played at the same time. I caught highlights and saw goals and stuff like that, and that's what you kind of pick up, don't you, really? But obviously I watched the Lionesses games. LG says, Andreas, aren't you German? Why are you saying we when referring to the England national team? Come on, we all know that Andreas, although he was born in Germany, lives in Germany, but really deep down he's got an English heart, hasn't he? That's what
he's a lion heart.
He is. So geography isn't important, is it? It's not. That's not what matters. It's what's inside that matters, not where you are. Logistics don't matter, do they? It's what's inside you. And we know what's inside Andreas, so that's right. That's cool. Terry says, spot on, lordy. Let's hope they do come back with that attitude. Exactly, that's what we want to see, don't we? LG says, Russo is a different player playing for England and Arsenal. It seems like Arsenal's stifles are a bit. I think it has done. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things might change now with a new manager.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I agree. I do think she looks a different player for England. It's a different system, and maybe that system suits her better. She seems to score more goals for England than she did at Man United before, or that she's done at Arsenal. So there is something in that, but that's to do with her role in the team's different for England, isn't it? The style is different. But yeah, we want to see the England Leslie Russo more for Arsenal, don't we? That's what we want to see, because that's a great player. We know that he's a top player. But yeah, we need to find a way. Whoever the manager is, find a way to get not just the best out of Leslie Russo, to get the best out of all of them, but in particular, because you can see the difference from when she plays for England to when she plays for Arsenal. It's a massive difference, isn't it? And I thought you could almost say the same about Beth Mead. When she was flying at the Euros and before, she was probably the best player in the world at that point in international football by a mile. But yet she didn't always. Yes, she was good for Arsenal, but was she ever as good as she was for England? Probably not. So there's something in the style and the system. But international football is different, isn't it? It's a different animal, so it's difficult sometimes to compare it. But yeah,
and often it's tournament football rather than a league.
Exactly, yeah, and I think as well, no disrespect to the international teams, but some of the international teams that you play against aren't at the same level. They wouldn't even be good enough to play in the WSL, let alone anything else. And yet they're teams that, you know, international footballs, you're playing against them type of teams, and obviously you're going to be able to score more goals or look a better player when you're playing against teams of a lesser level. So I suppose you have to sometimes, I mean, Leslie Russo's played well against the top teams for England as well, so that's not the only reason, but we have to take that into account as well, don't we? If a player looks good at international football, sometimes it's because international football slightly slower pace, the opposition isn't as strong, they're not as fit, all this kind of stuff as well needs to be kind of looked at, I suppose. Terry says, LG, Lordy Andreas is English royalty, Arsenal is just his undercover so he can walk around London surveying his land and people. Exactly, yeah, of course, he's got his own land in London now, which is great. Rajan's River say, dear my friend, good to see you, hope you're well. Terry says, good to see you, mate, even though it's nearly Saturday. Of course it's nearly Saturday, that's fine. Rajana can be late on time. LG says Leo has had a Euro 2022 hangover. All the fame and fortune has gotten into her head. I agree. She's definitely had a hangover. And funnily enough, when just after she had lifted that trophy at the final at Wembley, I actually said that not just for Leah, but for a lot of the team, how do they recover from this? How do they move forward from that? Because you've reached the pinnacle of your career. You've won a trophy for your country. Yeah. How can you then go back to playing normal football, if you like? And I think she struggled. Obviously, the injury didn't help, but she struggled before she got that injury. I thought that season straight after the Euros. And I was kind of concerned that was going to be the case. It happens quite a lot with international football when you're successful, and then you have to come back to your club and you think, well, it's not quite as exciting as that tournament was. You know, we had a brilliant few weeks in that tournament, and now it's a bit boring just coming back and training every day and playing against West Ham or playing against Brighton or whatever it is. It's not quite the same as playing Spain at, or playing Germany at Wembley in a final, is it? Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's difficult to regain that excitement, and maybe you're right. It is, maybe that's part of it. I don't know. Regina says it's a family, but that's fine. You don't need to explain to us, my friend. As long as you join us, it's fine. Terry says Regina only joking. It's always good to have. Of course it is. Emerson says I monitor all the girls during. Only Russo, Mead, I think Blackstenius, Marnham, and McCabe scored for their countries. So we'll see if Man United match has taken it out of them. First 15 minutes will tell you. I think obviously Katie McCabe scored. Caitlin Ford, I think, scored, didn't she, for Australia? Obviously, Kyra Cross scored for Australia. Oh, talking about it, actually, I was amazed when you said, Andreas, that was her 50th cap when she's so young. And Leah Williamson just got her 50th cap for England. And it's like, I didn't understand that, but it was her 50th cap, wasn't it? I mean, that's incredible, isn't it? When she's only, 21 years old, and she's played 50 times for her country. That's mad, isn't it?
Incredible.
How does it happen?
It shows what a big talent she is. That she was Australian international at a very young age and nearly played every match since her debut. So this shows how good she is, how she is rated or was rated by Tommy Gustafsson, the head coach from Australia, and now from the new coach. Yeah, she's a big talent. And what I said very often, we can't say our younger players, they are not ready for the WSL or they have to adapt to the WSL. They can only be ready if you give them minutes. They can't adapt to the WSL level if they sit on the bench. So let them play. I say this for weeks, and it's not only Kyra, it's also Rosa and Catherine Kuhl, the same.
Yeah.
She's playing for Denmark. She scored for Denmark in the first match in this international break. But she gets 0 minutes from Arsenal. How can she develop if she gets no chance to adapt or to play with the others? Every of our guys, give them minutes, give them the chance to show that they are ready.
Yeah, I think sometimes one of the criticisms I had about Jonas at times, he seemed to leave people, not only a few, but he seemed to leave a couple of players out in the cold as well. He pushed Catherine Kuhl out. She wasn't getting a game. She wasn't getting anything. Then suddenly she was on loan. And there was a big thing
Yeah,
about him
well.
and Viv falling out as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
About the minutes he was giving. I just can't remember her name offhand now, but one of the Japanese players that we had. She was. I think he brought her on once in injury in the 93rd minute or something, and there was an obvious thing where Viv took exception to it when they were walking off the pitch. I'll never forget that, and that was a thing when I thought, well, that's not looking good with Viv as well, and that relationship seemed to go from good to bad. So I think with Jonas, he didn't really do like Andrea says. We're not giving minutes to, and I think Jonas had his favourites, and maybe this will change now with the new manager or even with Renee. Those younger players, she's obviously not frightened to bring 4 players on at once. Maybe when her confidence gets up, she might change things sooner. She might have a bit more faith in some of the younger players. So, it can only get. I think it'll get better. I do, honestly. I believe in them.
No, I do. And, we like to see young players being given opportunities, don't we? Because there's nothing better than seeing them succeed. And on the other side of that, though, when there's pressure, and obviously Arsenal and Jonas was under quite a lot of pressure, maybe that's not always the best time to play young players when there's so much at stake. Maybe you need to pick your times a little bit more. Maybe that's what he was trying to do. But sometimes you're right. Just stick them on there. Get them out there, get them on the pitch. They'll either sink or swim, won't they? And if they sink, then that's fair enough. At least you gave them a chance, and then it hasn't worked out. But yeah, I would like to see obviously them all get more minutes really. And yeah, the Catherine Cole situation, I do think that before she went on loan, she did play a bit, didn't she? And you could see that there was something there, but it wasn't quite ready. I don't think she was quite ready. At that point, maybe going on loan was the right thing at that time. Maybe. But now to come back, he didn't send her on loan this season, and he never used her at all. It's like, well, either send her on loan or play her. Don't leave her sitting on the bench, because that's no good to anybody. So that was a strange decision, really, that he didn't send her on loan and then chose not to play. I mean, obviously, Renee's not picked her either in the 2 games that she's been involved. So let's see what happens in the future with her in particular. It was nice that Rosa got a few more minutes than usual in the West Ham squad, and hopefully that's a good sign going forward, because we can see what a talent she is. Definitely. And a game changer she is, and I think that's what we need to see more of her as well, don't we? But it's important that we don't get too carried away and excited because a young player suddenly comes on and does well. It's like young players are very up and down with their form sometimes, aren't they? They can have they can have a few good games and then they'll have a bad spell, and you've got to manage that as the manager. You've got to manage that properly and don't kill their confidence. You've got to do it right. But equally, you've got fans that are crying for these players to be on the pitch getting more minutes, and that's what we all want to see, don't we? So let's see. It's going to be interesting over the next few weeks, isn't it? Because I think the international break has shown that some of these players they're top international players, and top international players are good enough to play in the WSL for Arsenal. Absolutely, they are. So let's give them the opportunity to do so. Not all of them in one go, maybe, but let's get them on the pitch as more than we have done. And I say, sink or swim. That's what it's about for me. It's sink or swim, isn't it? They'll either make it or they won't. And if they don't, then I'm sure they'll go on somewhere else and do well. Terry says, going back to Leah, it could be a mental thing. She is a woman after all. Well, I mean, they're always in there, Terry. But I think that's. I mean, Ange, what do you make of that comment from Terry there? Are you supporting that, or are you a little bit, a little bit?
Actually, I will do. We are totally loopy. Of course we are. Of course we are.
We wouldn't have it any other way, would we? Let's be honest. we definitely wouldn't. Greg says she'll be back to her best soon. She's still a great player. No, absolutely. Of course, she's a great player. You don't lose that ability, do you? It's just she needs to get it sorted out, obviously, because DJ Smith says men have emotions too. Well, of course, men have emotions too. Yeah, but maybe men hide them a little bit more easily than women tend to do. Maybe that. But, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just biology, isn't it? And the nature of men and women and hormones and all this other kind of stuff, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, there you go. But we shall see. Regina says, in the internationals, did any of you see any special talented players who would be good for Arsenal? To be honest with you, I didn't watch other than the Lionesses game, the only player I saw in the Lionesses games was that South African captain who scored their goal. I thought she was brilliant, actually. She can, she's almost like 100-meter sprinter, how fast she was. She's the only real player that stood. Obviously, we know the German players already, and we're probably not going to get any of them. I mean, Andreas, did you watch much of the international games, obviously, other than the Lionesses, to pick any player that stood out for you that might be a good player for us to look at?
No, not a special name that I would say we have to buy her and she will change everything. I think we have a good squad. We have really a lot of talent in the squad, and we must use it. Our average age of the starting 11 was last time, I think, 27 or 28, and we have all the young players on the bench. That's what I said a few minutes ago. We must use the quality of our squad, and then there is enough quality. There are enough young players then who can have a breakthrough in this season. So I have no special name. What I would say, we have to buy her, and everything will be good. No.
Yeah.
Well, apart from maybe some of the Spanish team would be quite good to get a few of them, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
A few more of them. We've got a couple, but a few more would be nice, wouldn't it? I suppose, but it's not going to happen, is it? Let's be honest. We can dream, I know. But James says the German striker was excellent. I mean, a lot of the German players are good, aren't they? We know how good they are, but do we realistically have a chance of signing any of them? Probably not. And I sort of agree with Andreas. I don't necessarily think our problem is the players that we've got. It's getting the players that we've got to gel better as a team, and because we've got a really, really high quality group of players here now. Yeah. I don't think there's many areas of the team you look at and say, well, we're a bit weak there or we're a bit weak there, because I don't think we're on paper, at least we haven't produced the performances on the pitch maybe to match the quality that we've got, and that's maybe a manager issue or a coaching issue, whatever it might be, but we've got the players, and if we can get them to gel. Renee said in her press conference today, they were talking about Man United. They haven't lost a game yet, all this kind of stuff. And she said, it's not about Man United, it's about us. We've got the talent. If we play to our best, we can beat anybody. And she's right. And it's her job it's her job to make sure that we do play to the best of our ability and we win the game. But I don't think the squad needs necessarily improving it. You always need new players, I suppose, but I'm happy with our squad now. I was happy with it at the start of the season. We've got almost every box ticked, haven't we? I know we've got a little bit of an issue at right back at the minute because of Laura's injury, but that was unexpected. Obviously, Vicky Palova being out most of the season hasn't helped. But you can't help injuries, unfortunately, and you can't suddenly buy a load more players because you might get injuries. You've got to try and hope that you don't. But I'm happy with our squad. I think the balance is good. I think we've got cover in nearly every position. We've got a good goalkeeper now. So, I didn't look at any other players and thought, they could be good. But, when the transfer window comes in January, I'm sure we'll bring somebody in. That's generally how it goes, isn't it? LG said, when I watched Chelsea play Spurs the other week, they are so quick and direct. They are the complete opposite to our slow and methodical style. Yeah, they are. And they were always more direct when Emma was coach, wasn't they? They always got the ball forward quickly. Yeah. But you've got to play to your strengths, haven't you? That's what you've got to do. And Chelsea have always done that. Emma found a way to play to the strengths of the players that she had. And we've maybe struggled, or Jonas struggled certainly to maybe do that in the last year or so, didn't he? Got a great squad of players, wasn't really playing to a lot of their strengths, it didn't seem. And that's what makes a good manager a great manager, isn't it? Is being able to figure that out with the players that you've got. You can't just keep buying loads of players all the time. You've got to eventually get to a point where you've got to get the best out of what you've got. And if you can do that, that's what makes you a great manager. And if you can't do it, then maybe it's right what Jonas did and steps away. Because at the end of the day, that's what happens, isn't it? Terry says, bang on LG, my thoughts exactly. Yeah, I think we all agree with that. We'd love to see Arsenal play more direct and get the ball forward quickly and stuff like that, wouldn't we? Because it's more exciting to watch, apart from anything else. And also, from Chelsea's point of view, it's more successful, isn't it? LG says, Leah has had to face competition in the national team, hence why she's only has 50 caps for England at 27. Yeah, and I do think with England as well, yes, that's true. And also I think with England as well, that the competition the level that we play at sometimes makes it harder when you're a younger player to get that many caps as Kyra's done for Australia. Not that Australia don't play top teams, but I just feel with England it's more difficult to get that many caps at that age. I mean, has any England player ever got 50 caps at 21? They probably have in the past. I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Rachel Yankee may have done. I don't know how old she was, but yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a point there. Yeah, there is more competition for England anyway, isn't it? I mean, Kyra probably must play every single match for Australia. To have played 50 games at 21, she must have played every single game since she started playing for them. You know, to have got that many games in, and that's unusual, isn't it, for anybody? Greg says, I don't think it shows that she's a big talent. Australia don't have the quality of players in their league compared to other countries. No, a lot of their players do play abroad. Obviously, a lot of them playing the WSL. There's a lot of Australian of the national team playing the WSL, don't they? Obviously, we've got a few ourselves. Regina says, our new fullback is brilliant. I've seen her, and she's a brilliant head on her. I suppose you mean is that Emily Fox? You mean? No, she's a newest one, isn't she? LG says Jonas leaving a couple of players in the cold. Arteta settings, don't you feel? Well, yeah. A lot of people started to make that comparison, didn't they, between Jonas and Mikel Arteta? And you know, I suppose you can see similarities in some of the style of play. Yeah, absolutely. But Jonas did win two cups in 2 years, so there you go. That's something that he managed to get right. Terry says Kyra Cooney-Cross needs to take her chance now, in my opinion, because when Pelova is back, that's big boots to knock her off her post. Exactly, yeah. This is the season, isn't it? Because Vicky's going to be out most of this season, and Kyra's got an opportunity to take that spot. Because Vicky Pelova, when she's fit, to me, would be pretty much the first name on my team sheet.
Yeah,
last season,
absolutely.
Yeah. Terry says, a question, do you think Arteta doesn't like having people around him that win trophies? Well, maybe not. No, I don't know. He doesn't want people around that's going to make him look bad. Greg says, a cool isn't great passing. She gives it away more than passing. Well, she has done, but she's a young player and she's not going to develop unless she's playing. But yeah, I sort of agree. You could see there was gaps in her game when she was playing, and that was why she got sent on loan. And she's come back and still not played. Anyway, Tashi says, when the senior players are underperforming, we might as well play the young players. Exactly, yeah. Absolutely, 100%, of course. Absolutely, we should. Terry says, agree, Greg. She seems far too weak at the moment for WSL. Well, she's not been playing, has she? So we don't know, do we? She might be stronger now. She might be better now.
Could be.
LG says there, Fembi Katalanga is a South African captain. She plays in the NWSL. I think she had a very good 2023 World Cup. I thought she was brilliant the other night against England. She was fantastic. Great player. But yeah, maybe she's one to look at.
The South African team in the World Cup as well, I thought. From memory, I think they did quite well.
They did, yeah. I think they got to the knockout stage, didn't they? So I think they did all right. Yeah, I mean, you know, they got one or two decent players, but we should have beat them a little bit more comfortably than we did, I suppose. Emerson says there are a couple of American players to look at. They play for the national team, as there's not that many in Europe. Well, yeah, of course, we signed a great American in Emily Fox, so it might be, you know, I'm sure Emma will let us look at a few of our players, won't she? Greg says, obviously something was wrong under Jonas. I believe now we'll see a better team going forward. Let's hope so. Yeah. Let's hope you're right. LG says, on paper, this squad is better than the 2018-2019 title winning squad, but the cohesion and the coaching might be a problem with this current squad. Yes, I agree. The squad's probably stronger in depth, but then so is everybody else, and that's the point, isn't it? I mean, and I said this a few weeks ago. If this current squad of players played in, well, actually no, the way I said it was if the 2007 quadruple winning team played in the WSL now, they probably wouldn't win the league because the league's so much stronger. Whereas if this current team played in the WSL in 2007. They would probably also have won the quadruple. Doesn't mean they're a better team. It just means that football's improved.
It has.
The quality of the players has improved. The coaching's improved. The fitness has improved, and that's why. But you're absolutely right. I think that the squad now is stronger in depth than it was, but everybody else is.
It's strong enough.
Yeah, and you know we've just got to find a way to be stronger than everybody else. It doesn't matter if we're stronger than we were in 2019 or in 2007. What matters is that we've got to be stronger than everybody else is now. That's the only thing that matters. Because if we're not, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter if our squad's stronger now than 2019. We're not in 2019 now. We're in 2024, 2025. And this is when we've got to be stronger than everybody else. And at the moment, we haven't been on the pitch. Even if off the pitch, we look as though we are. Terry, so I think in these girls, we now have everything that they need to win. The girls just need the right manager now to take them there. Yeah, quite possibly. Let's see what happens. LG says, I prefer a Sam Coffey from the USA than Kira Walsh. That might be a hot take. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, we know, obviously, I know you said before, you don't care so much about the England national team. That's fair enough. We've watched a lot of Kira Walsh play, but you've obviously watched more of Sam Coffey. And yeah, maybe she might be better. I don't know. But this is the job of the new manager, isn't it? When they come in to get the players in that we need and they want. Virginia says, our new young central defender looks very good and is shown to be able to work both left and right side central. Yeah, Katie Reid, of course. Yeah, I'm assuming you're referring to Katie Reid, who's brilliant. She needs more time. She's one who does need more time.
I think she will. I think she's getting fed in slowly because they're obviously trying to find a place for her, even to give her minutes at the end of a game. I think they're definitely grooming her to be a big part of our future.
I hope so, because she looks a real talent, doesn't she? She's just brilliant. So I want to see a lot more of her this season. Hopefully she'll get opportunities. It's difficult because obviously we've got Leah Cadena, who's been playing well. Leah Williamson's obviously Leah Williamson. We've got Lotta as well. Lots of competition in those positions. So it's going to be difficult for her to get a lot of minutes, but there's going to be games, isn't there, in the maybe Champions League, the group games where maybe we've maybe got through and qualify, maybe give her a game there, the Continental Cup later on, maybe we'll see FA Cup and stuff like that. I'm sure she'll play, but yeah. Greg says, I think the coaching sometimes takes away the players' natural talent. Over-coaching does, I suppose. Not so much their natural talent, it takes away their spontaneity, because you've got to fit in with the team structure as opposed to just being able to get the ball
rigorous
and run with it.
Rigorous how you set up. I think because there's another thing is also, it's not just when we were going back to about buying the right players. I think you've also not only got to buy good players, but you've also got to buy players that fit into your system that you play. Because, we can buy great players, but if they don't fit into our system, this is what you're talking about. Russo before, that she's different for England than she's for Arsenal. If, her best talents aren't best used in the system, well, then you could get a lesser player who plays in that system, might score more goals. So I think you've got to marry the two as well. So the system's quite important as well.
And I think Mariona is a good example of that, because so far Mariona hasn't really hit the heights of a champion, a multiple Champions League winner, a World Cup winner, that kind of stuff. Actually, she's shown glimpses of what she can do.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe again, that's a case, isn't it, of the system having to. I think we need to adapt to. You build your team around a player like Mariona Caldente, don't you? And you fit the rest around it. And it's like we haven't done that yet. We've tried to fit her in with how we want to play. Yeah. And you're never going to get the best out of your players if you do that. You've got to sometimes think, you know what? This is what I wanted to see the men's team do with Mesut Ozil. Build your team around him, let him play his game and get what you need around him to get the best out of him. But it never happens because there's too much. You can't have one player being that important, I suppose, maybe in modern football. But anyway, Emerson says, their question for you all. Let Claire Wheatley and Jodie Taylor tell Renee have the interim job till the end of the season and then move for ex-Manchester City women's coach Nick Cushing and keep Renee as the number 2. I mean, Nick Cushing's sort of in the running already, isn't he? Because isn't he under contract in December or something? So he may well be available.
I think he's with.
No, I don't think that an interim coach should stay until the end of this season. We need a permanent new manager. And you could see that Renee is, she's interim, and she's just trying to manage the situation, but she doesn't change everything from 360 degrees. She's managing the situation, and she's loyal. She was loyal to Jonas, and if you are an assistant coach and you have to take the position for a while, you can't change everything because this would be illoyal to your former manager. And therefore we still see nearly the same lineup we saw under Jonas. We see the same players. It's small margins she can change, but she won't change, or she won't stand for a real change. And we need this. So I think we need a new current manager, not an interim solution for the end of the season. Maybe till the end of the first half, December, but now the club told her till the next international break. So I'm sure they are searching. Let's hope they find the best possible solution.
You're not going to see a big change as well, because Renee followed Jonas in Sweden, and now she's followed him here. And also, I don't think Jonas would have brought her in at the beginning if she was radically different to the way the two of them thought anyway. So she's going to be pretty similar because she was part of his backroom staff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think you're right. I mean, if they're going to, I mean, they might end up offering Renee the job permanently. I don't know. But you're right. We need a permanent manager. You can't have an interim manager, because an interim manager can't make long-term changes, because there's no point, because they're interim manager, aren't they? They're only there for a short time, whether it's 5 or 6 games that Renee might get, or whether it's 3 or 6 months, but whatever it is, they're not going to be able to plan for the next 2 or 3 years, are they? Because they're not going to be in the job at that point. So you're right. We need to get a permanent manager appointed as soon as possible. And yes, they said today, Renee said that she's going to be there until the next international break, which is the end of November, 5 games. What happens is that going to be the time? Will we see a new manager in December? Will we get that new manager? I think we need to. We need to make a decision.
We've got the January transfer window.
Well, yeah, that's coming up as well, and obviously it will give the opportunity for a new manager to look at the squad and say, this is what I need to go forward. I mean, I know it's not just about one transfer window. There's going to be one at the end of the season as well. But we can't just write off this season, can we? And say, well, let's just keep Renee until the end of the season. This season doesn't matter. Of course it matters. All seasons matter. We've got to do the best that we can this season and try to win some trophies and compete and be the best that we can possibly be. And you're not going to do that with an interim manager. Absolutely. 100% agree. We've got to get a permanent manager in. And we've got to get a permanent manager in as soon as we possibly can. Hopefully, it'll be in December when we come back after that international break. We've got a new manager in place. That's what we need. Absolutely. Daniel says, Reid in central defence, Leah in midfield. Potentially. Have we got better midfielders in Leah? Maybe we have. I don't know. LG says the 2007 quadruple team had big physical players like Jane Ludlow, Rachel Yankee. The current squad don't have a lot of those. They might win the league now with the current facilities. Yeah, but don't forget though, in there now every team's got physical players. So would we be as physical? Would that 2007 team look as physical now against Chelsea, for example? They wouldn't, would they? Because look how much more physical all the teams are. So it's difficult to say, and we're not trying to take away the achievements of the 2007 team, but just looking at the way football's evolved, women's football's evolved in that time. That's it's difficult to see players who were the top players then being the same now, with the way that everybody else has changed the way they play, better coaching, I said, more physical, etc. Grotz, what are they doing, my friend? Good to see you all the way from Sweden, of course. Greg says that was a problem with Viv. She believed everyone should be playing for her. I mean, sometimes, a player like Viv, maybe you do need to give her a little bit of that, don't you? Build your team. And we did sort of build our team around her, didn't we?
Yeah.
When she first came. And it worked. She scored hundreds of goals and what have you. But what happened was that time passed and things changed, and she still expected that to maybe be the case, and it wasn't.
Possibly.
But there you go. Terry says, in my opinion, under Arteta and Jonas, we are breeding the flair out of the players, and didn't we buy them for that reason in the first place? He's getting too robotic. I definitely agree with that. I think that's just modern football in general. I don't just think that's an Arsenal thing. I think that's in general. I think it is. It's just modern football, unfortunately. LG says they're spot on, Greg. Viv wanted everything revolving around her. She was being greedy. She acted like she was bigger than herself. I think she did sometimes. I agree with that. We all love Viv, but I think you're right. Regenda says it may be small margins. Play with 2 strikers. Yeah, absolutely. We've been banging that drum a lot of the last 2 seasons with Stina and Leslie, haven't we? Playing both together. Absolutely playing both together. Not all the time necessarily, but certainly. Yeah. LG says you're right. Maybe the women's game has got faster compared to Super. Yeah, it has. It's got faster. It's got stronger. And it's much better, isn't it? It's much better as a spectacle, which is what we all love, isn't it? But let's enjoy it now for what it is, as opposed to looking back and thinking, would that team have done well? It's just a comparison, because people have said that about the current squad. Really, you just got to look at it. That everybody's improved, and you've got to you've got to do the same, or you fall behind, and we have fallen behind. And so it says, the season I love is winter. I get a 2-week break, but after 2 weeks at home with the old woman reminds me why I don't retire. See, I don't really like winter because I like the warm weather and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of autumn and winter and stuff, but anyway, it is what it is. And the weather's not been too bad lately, which is quite good. So yes, I mean, we had a good international break. We're going to get a new manager, I'm sure, very, very shortly, hopefully in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Let's wait and see. But of course, in the meantime, before all of that, we have got an absolutely massive game coming up on Sunday. You know, we've had a tough start to the season with fixtures, haven't we? And this is another big one, an away game as well. Wow, what an incredible game this is going to be. Man United, FA Cup winners, of course, and they've not lost since they won that cup final either. So they're a good team. We know they're a good team. They've improved their squad for this season, as everybody has. They've not played any of the top sides yet, but they've done well in the games that they've played, which is all you can do. You can only beat what the fixtures throw up at you. You've got to win your games. Of course, you know, we've had some great games with them in the past. Last season's game at the Leigh Sports Village was a great game, wasn't it? We should have won. And unfortunately, we gifted them 2 really, really poor goals. And of course, it was that great goal from Chloe Lacasse, wasn't it? Her first goal that got us the draw in the end. It was a great game, that was. And I'm sure in the overall scheme of things, a draw on Sunday wouldn't be the worst result in the world. But in the position that we're in, we really need to win. We need to win every game, pretty much. But this one in particular, you're playing against your rivals, or one of your rivals for that top 3 position, the title rival, whatever it is. We've got to ideally win this game. I mean, Andreas, it is going to be really, really tough, isn't it? It always is tough against Man United away. It's never an easy place to go. But, you know, we revitalised after the international break. Can we go there and get the 3 points?
It will be very, very difficult. And United has so far 4 matches, and they have 10 points, scored 8 goals and conceded only 1. So this says a lot that they're defending very well this season. And there are a few names of players that are outstanding so far. I think Maya Le Tissier is in the best form of her life so far in defense. And then Grace Clinton, we saw her in the international break, what she did for the Lionesses. She's outstanding talent and doing really well together with Céline Bisset. And then they got Elizabeth Turland, the goal scorer from Leicester, and she continued scoring for United. So they have a really, really good team, and it seems they gel together very, very good. And for me, Grace Clinton is an example for our players, for our young players. She went on loan for 1 year. She did a very good season at Tottenham. She comes back to United, and she's playing there. She's I don't know, is she 20, 21? But they trust in her and give her the chance. And look how she's shining for United. So it will be a very difficult match. And I see the next 2 games in a package, United and Brighton. If we get only 2 draws out of this, it will be not enough. If we can get 1 point away at United, then we have to beat Brighton. 4 points is the minimum we have to get out of these 2 matches. Otherwise, you can forget about the 3rd place. I personally don't think that we will compete for the title. It's between Chelsea and City. I said this before the season, and as it develops, I still say these 2 will make the WSL champion out of them. But to compete for the 3rd place is the minimum for us in this season. In the league, of course, we have the cup competition, but in the league, we must be able to at least compete for this 3rd place. And for this, it's important not to lose at United. And if we want to have a kickstart right now, then a win away at United would be fantastic for the confidence, a boost for the confidence. So let's try everything to win there. But I would take a draw. And I know you will ask for score prediction. I say 2-2 because I think we are able to score, and with the confidence from the international break with all the players who scored for us. Maybe we can score 2 goals, but our defense, I don't know, Leah is not at her best. And maybe it was good for Emily Fox or for Katie McCabe to come out of this Arsenal pressure. Maybe they will come back, fitter in their mind. But we didn't defend very good in the last games. I say 2-2 and would take a draw, but of course I hope for a win, and I would take every win, whether it's a lucky win, a dirty win, whatever. 3 points would be fantastic. Let's see. It'll be a difficult match.
It will, of course, it will be a difficult match, and I mean, yeah, a draw wouldn't be a disaster, but yeah, if we can get, you're right, if we can get 6 points from these next 2 games against 2 teams that have been going really well, I mean, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? But it's not, obviously, we can say that it's not going to be easy because they're 2 very good sides, and we've got to be at our best if we're going to get anything from these games. But yeah, we need points, and we need as many as we can get between now and the end of the season, to be honest with you. But yeah, we've got to start this next game. Sometimes coming back off international breaks can be tough, but I think this time we're in a good place. Let's hope so. I mean, Ange, it's going to be a good game, isn't it? I mean, it's an exciting prospect, isn't it? Obviously, Arsenal, Man United, whatever competition it's in, is always a game that you want to watch. It's going to be good, isn't it? But can we win? That's the most important thing, isn't it? Can we go there and win?
Where are they playing? In the lesser one? I don't know what it's called. That one. Do you know what? I'm going to really put myself. I can't give you the scoreline, but I think we're going to do it.
Well, that's because you're so positive, Ange. That's why.
No, I'm not. I'm really not most of the time. But I don't know. Just a new interim manager bounce. Well, certainly for our wonderful international players. Not the Lionesses, but they've had a good friendlies. They've done well. Yeah, I say we're going to do it, but I couldn't give you the scoreline. I don't think it's going to be anything amazing, but then that's got to back up our defence. But we're going to have Duff in goal.
No,
hopefully we should have.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how we win, does it? Let's be honest. And these are the sort of games where you have to, we had to at West Ham. It's a different type of game, but we went to West Ham. We had to find a way to win, and we did. And we've got to try to find a way in this game as well, which is going to be a totally different proposition. But yeah, I don't care how we win. I don't care how the game goes. I don't care how well we play necessarily. Yeah, it'd be lovely to go there, wouldn't it? Play brilliant football and show the world that we are a serious team that can win the league, and go there and play brilliantly. But I don't really care if we do or not. What I care about is if we win the game, because if we win the game, suddenly it keeps us knocking on that door still. And I still think that I'll always believe we can win the league until mathematically we can't. And at the moment, we're still in there fighting, I think, because we've drawn 2 and lost 1. Everyone's going to draw 2 and lose 1. Chelsea will, Man City will, Man United certainly will. Brighton are going to lose a few. So, we're not out of it yet. We have to win most of our games, but we can do it. And we can certainly go to Man U and win. It won't be easy, of course. I mean, what are you sort of anticipating for this game? Because obviously it's a massive, massive game. More so for us probably because of how we've started.
Well, definitely, I'd take a filthy win any day. But I think we're going to find it difficult, partly because of what I've seen so far this season. Unless there's a dramatic turnaround, as we were saying before, about how fast we move the ball, and I haven't got a great deal of confidence with the defence at the minute. And I think, I say that because I don't think the defence itself has got an enormous amount of confidence at the minute. I think we are struggling. The manager's left. He's, depends how you look at it. He could have walked out on the team, and I think that there's going to be a bit of a backlash of confidence with that. And Man United, it's such a tough place to go to. Earlier in the week, I thought I can't see us getting anything. But you've won me over a little bit with the way the girls have played internationally, and can they bring that confidence back? So I might push for a draw again, like Ange. I don't know what score that would make. I can see goals, so like Andrea says, a 2-2. It'd have to be a hard-fought 2-2. To win, I think we've got to play out of our skin a little bit, because we're talking about our confidence. Man United's confidence is going to be at the, through the roof. They're going to feel invincible. They're going to feel at home. That I've been to Leeds before. That's quite a big stadium, as I don't mean the Emirates and stuff, but against some of the other smaller grounds that the girls play on, there's a lot of noise in there, and they're very partisan, and they do support the team there. It's going to be a difficult place to go to. So give them a bit of due and think maybe a draw, 1-1, 2-2, but I definitely think there'll be goals in it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, because we haven't had too many goals in some of the games recently, have we? But some of them have been quite tough watch.
We'll lift our game a bit. We will lift our game. I think we do. We play better against City and Chelsea. Not necessarily we always win, but I do think we play better. Like the West Ham game, I thought we were quite poor, but I expect us, whether win, lose or draw, we will play better on at Man United.
Yeah, I mean, I think these are the games that suit us more, don't they? Because of the way the other, especially at Man United, are at home, so the onus is on them to try to take the game forward and to try and be on the front foot and win their home games. So I think that will help us, and I think it does help us in these type of games generally. So they're not going to sit everyone behind the ball and make it play like that type of game that we don't like. So it might.
I think there'll be goals.
Yeah, I think there could well be goals. Obviously, there was goals in this game last year. Greg, so I've seen United a few times this season. They don't seem that good. We can take them easily. Well, I admire your confidence, my friend, as always. But we shall see. Terry says, I don't want to see us turn this over on Sunday. I want to see us turn this over on Sunday. Watched Man United a few times this season, and they really ain't all that. If we play our potential, I'm going 4-5-1. Wow, I mean that would be incredible, wouldn't it? So. Terry obviously agrees with Greg. Greg says, "Agree, Terry. At least 4-1. We're much better than them." Well, if you look at the league table right at this moment, we're not. But let's see. LG says, Grace Clinton, Aggie Beaver Jones, Jess Park. How to develop young players. Arsenal should take some notes. Yeah, of course. And we've got good players. We've got young players, as good as them, and I'm sure they're going to show exactly that over the next year or two. Emerson says a close 2-1 win for us, but we have to take our chances. Well, of course, we're not. Defensively they have been good. Okay, they haven't played any of the top teams yet, but anyway. LG says the funny thing is that we face Man United at home on the final weekend. Third place might be up for grabs. It could well be. No. The title will be up for grabs on the last day when we play Man United. If you remember, was it 2 or 3 years ago when Chelsea played Man U last game?
Yeah, and they scored first. United did, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They were winning, weren't they, at half time? Which is why we were actually top of the table at half time, because they were winning and we were drawing. But anyway. We didn't quite finish like that. Terry says, Greg, can you hear Lordy trying to make it sound like it's going to be a close game? I'm not falling for it. Make it sound exciting. Well, I don't know. Terry says, well said, and say it 4 or 5-1. It's not going to be 4 or 5-1, I don't think. Greg says, I agree. I can't understand thinking United aren't good enough to get a draw against us. Well, we'll see. James was pretty confident. He's gone 3-1 to the Arsenal. There we go. Greg says, go on, Rajendra, just push for one more goal. Well, 3-1 will do, won't it? Terry says, Mike, be a hero, go against Lordy and Richard. We all campaign to get you back on. He says, come on, Rich, deep down, we aren't winning the league. We need to be perfect from now onwards, which is not going to happen, especially with a trip to Chelsea, Man City, and Man United still looming. Well, yeah, but you see, everybody's going to drop points. Everybody will drop points this season. They will. Maybe we've got dropped on most of ours already. Yeah, maybe we have. Maybe Chelsea and Man City have got all theirs to come. Why can't we think like that? We've played Man City, we've played Chelsea, we've played Man United this weekend. Yes, we've got to play them all again. But Man United haven't played any of the top teams yet, apart from us, who have Man City played. Chelsea have played us, they haven't played any of the other top teams either. So, they're all going to drop points. Oh, yes, we're going to have to be nearly perfect, I agree. We can't afford to drop too many more points. Why can't we do that? We've got the players. We know we have. If a new manager or Rene, in the meantime, whatever it is, can get this team to gel, there's no reason why we can't go on and win most of our games that are left. There's no reason why we can't. Will we? That's the question. We don't know, but we could potentially do it. And I still believe we've got a chance. We've still got a chance. I'm not writing it off. I'm not writing it off yet. If we don't do these next 2 games are going to be important. If we don't win either of them, as Andreas said, it's gone. Absolutely, I'll agree there. 100% it's gone. But at the moment, it's still on.
The difference is, I was going to say, the difference is we haven't. We've dropped our points now, but we're just saying that Chelsea, Man City, Man United haven't played anybody yet, but they've not dropped points. We haven't played anybody, and we've dropped points to Everton. And the other game that we drew as well, we've played the lower teams and dropped points, whereas you're now talking about we could still drop points against the top teams. Well, Chelsea have got to play the more difficult teams, and they may drop points in the future. But we've still got to play a lot of the top teams, and we've dropped points before we play them. If I've made that very clear, we've dropped points against the lower teams.
Well, no, but we've only really dropped points to Everton. I mean, we drew with Man City. They're one of the top teams up there with us. So they've dropped points to us. We've lost to Chelsea, and we've drawn with Everton. Everton's the only game where you could say that's a lesser team that we've dropped points to. So there's no reason to suggest that that's going to happen too many other times. We might draw another game against somebody else because that could happen. But Chelsea are going to drop points hopefully against us next time we play them. They've got to play City twice. They've got to play Man United twice. They're probably going to drop points in them games. So that means City are going to drop more points. United are going to drop more points. And there'll be games when, Brighton aren't going to be a pushover for anybody. Aston Villa aren't going to be a pushover for anybody. There's opportunity. Yeah. Yes, they're not going to be a pushover for us either. And we've got to remember that. But, we've dropped some points we shouldn't have dropped. We know that, but I think everybody will. And I think when it gets to by the time we get to Christmas, we'll have a lot more of an idea, won't we? Because everybody would have played everybody. Yeah, we'd have played a lot of the smaller teams. So with Chelsea and Man United and Man City, we'll see exactly where we are. But I still think that it's not over. I don't think it's over because I've got confidence that this league now is strong enough that these other teams will be able to take points off the top teams as well. Okay, and they could take them off us, and that might be the difference. Like you said, we've dropped our points now, but apart from Everton, we've only dropped points to City and Chelsea. If we can beat Man United, then that puts us. I think that puts us back in it. I really do. LG says Man United are not that great. If we were a serious team, we win at the weekend. Chelsea won 6-0 there when they were under pressure to win. Well, yeah, they did, but that was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? I think so. Who knows? Terry says our girls are good enough to beat Man City and Chelsea. Man U don't even come into it in my book. Well, I mean, they're there or thereabouts every year, aren't they? They're not quite at that top level. Greg says, don't forget we started earlier than everyone else, and now we've had a break. We play a lot better. Yeah, maybe we did start early, obviously, with the Champions League qualifiers. Terry says, as long as we turn up against Chelsea with our own socks. Yeah, we need to get our right socks against Chelsea. As we saw in the cup final, we played in our right socks and we beat them. So there you go. We do need our right socks, you're right. But yeah, it's not over. It's definitely not over for me. I still think we can win the league. I still think we can have a good, successful season. And sometimes, it's not how you start, is it? It's how you finish. It's a marathon, isn't it? The season. Yeah. It's not a sprint. And we've started slowly. We started sort of in the middle of the pack, but we could do a good sprint finish, couldn't we? And it needs to start on Sunday. we need to start getting the momentum building up. We won against West Ham. Let's win this game and let's go from there. And let's see where it takes us. I'm with Ange. I think we will win on Sunday. I do think we'll win. I think we'll find a way to do it. I think we've got the players to do it. I think we know we don't have too many more chances left. We can't keep dropping points. We know we've got to start winning a run of games. We know we've got to. And you could say that adds pressure to us a little bit more, and it does. But top players and top teams thrive under that pressure. As LG said, Chelsea went over there and won 6-0 a couple of years ago when they needed to win. We need to win. I'm not saying we're going to go there and win 6-0 because I'm sure we won't. But we need to win, and I actually think we will. I think it'll be tight. I think it's going to be something like 1-0 or 2-1 or something like that. It will. It's not going to be a big 4-5-1 victory like the guys are saying. But I do think we'll go there and win. I really do, because we have to win, and I think we'll find a way to do it. We'll battle for everything. We'll find a way. We've got quality. We'll probably score a great goal from outside the box. Someone will score from 25. Maybe it'll be Rosa again. Score from 25 yards. Like bang one in the top corner. Lovely. Or Katie McCabe might get another one, like she did the other night. You know, it'll be something like that. It'll be something special, and we'll win, and it'll be great. I just got this feeling. I don't know why, but we shall see. LG says that if we turn up on Sunday, we get a result. We tend to be our own worst enemies. Well, we do, absolutely, we do. We can't be going around conceding some of the daft goals we've conceded this season, can we? Otherwise, we're going to be in big trouble. I don't think we will. I think we'll be fine. Greg says we'll still win 3 trophies this season. Well, we might win all 4 still, mate. Don't just say 3. There's 4. We can win all 4, can't we? We're still in all 4. We can win them, can't we? Why not? We need to improve, obviously, but I think we will. So it's a big game, isn't it, Sunday? So Andreas is going for a draw. Me and Angie going for wins. Actually, Mike's going for a draw as well. So we're pretty confident we're going to come away with something, which is great. We need to come away with something. If we lose, then I think it is definitely over. We can forget the league and throw everything into all the other competitions that's coming up. No, I think we will win. I'm confident we'll win. What we need to do, actually, obviously, because next Friday at this time, of course, the game will be on against Brighton at the Emirates. Are you going to that game, Andreas?
Yeah, of course I'm going. Yeah, I'm flying very early next Friday.
Oh, yeah. So you'd be here Thursday then. We could do a show Thursday, couldn't we, potentially?
Yeah,
Would you be available?
I'm available, but I can't do 2 hours show because I have to be at the airport at 7:30 in the morning on Friday. So you can imagine how when I have to leave home. So yeah, but I'm available on Thursday. Maybe we can start a bit earlier.
Yeah, maybe we could actually on a Thursday. We might be able to. We have to sort it out. It'd be nice to get a show in, wouldn't it? Looking back on the Man United game, obviously trying to look into Brighton game because that's going to be a big game as well. And who knows? There might be some more news on the manager front. We're not going to get a new manager because we've already know we're not. But there might be some news about who we might be getting. I mean, Ange and Mike, would you be available Thursday if necessary? If we can get it sorted,
I'd like to.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Ange, would you be around Thursday or are you busy?
Yeah, Thursday's fine. And to be honest, I wouldn't want a late one because, well, not so much me, but the girl who works in a big secondary school has to get up early. So, yeah, I mean, tonight's different. But, yeah, so maybe start a bit earlier, finish a bit earlier. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, I'm sure we can work it out. I'm sure we can work it out because the men are playing Champions League, aren't they? I think that's Tuesday, isn't it? So yeah, that should be right.
Not Thursday, anyway.
Yeah. Greg says, just have confidence we're the best team in the league. Exactly. No, I agree. We are the best team. Of course we are. LG says, I honestly see a 1-1. We'll concede a stupid goal probably. No, well, we could well do that. Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if we did. Although definitely will probably end up saving everything. So I won't worry about that now. We're all right.
Yeah, the Super Daft should be fine.
Exactly. Yes, Super Daphne. Terry says Russo 2, Stina 2, and Veggie. Well, I don't know. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? I'd like to see. I honestly can't just go away at Man United and playing Leslie Russo and Stina from the start. I don't think we will. I seem to remember Stina started last season's game, scored, didn't she? And then Leslie Russo came on later on with Chloe Lacasse. And of course, Chloe Lacasse got the other goal. So we'll have to see. Emerson says, see you next Friday, Andreas, if you're around the media entrance before you go in. As I'm not going. Aren't you going next week then? Before you go in. As I'm not. Oh, okay, you're not going. Okay. Greg says, have the show before we all go to work. Like 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Should we do it at 5 o'clock in the morning? That'd be good, wouldn't it? I'm not sure that would work, would it? Although some people in other countries might enjoy it because it might be their evening, so they might be all right. So are you going Friday, Ange?
No, we got cancellation in the end. Yeah, I was going to go, but of course Friday I'm at work. I wouldn't get there in time because I'm after school club. Yeah.
Oh, that's no
Yeah,
good, is it?
and it's my daughter's
I don't
birthday. Oh God, it's my daughter's birthday on the Thursday. Sugar, how could I have forgotten that? Ah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's no good, is
I
it?
might have to be in the chat for that one. So I'll just forget my daughter's birthday. Shame on me. Yeah, and then Friday we're going to go out, but I'm going to keep track of it on the phone because it's on that Ghastly YouTube channel, isn't it?
No,
Yeah,
will it be? No, it's on. Is it not on BBC One or something? The game. I'm not sure. It
Hang
must
on.
be on TV, mustn't it? For Friday,
Yeah, it's
it must be on.
streaming. Hang on, I'm gonna-
Yeah, be on one of them.
It must be.
Amazon.
Is
Are Amazon doing any?
Because
No,
the game, the match
Sky
this
BBC, isn't it?
Sunday's on BBC Two. Hang on.
BBC Two.
Is it on BBC Two Friday? Is it? Oh,
No.
okay.
I'm sure it's on that YouTube
It's
channel.
on BBC Two, as far
Yeah,
as my
the one this week is, yeah. This Sunday. But anyway, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. But anyway, I'll quickly tune into you, Rich, for the Friday
Good
one.
stuff.
But I'm a bit stingy
Yeah.
with my mobile data. Oops.
No, that's fine. Are you going on Friday, Mike?
No, I've just been to a couple of games. I went to the Emirates last week. A fortnight ago to the Bolton game, and I went to Preston the other night as well, as you know. So I'm just looking after my finances. Coming down from Cheshire is quite expensive for me, and usually because there's no late train, I have to sometimes stay over as well. So it starts getting quite expensive per game for me. So I have to choose my games. Unfortunately,
Exactly. No, I'm in the same boat really. So yeah,
yeah, of course.
It's tough. I must admit, it's tough to be able to do it. Like you said, it's not just as simple as just jumping on a train and going there. You have to plan it weeks in advance. I mean, Andreas does it, and he comes a lot further than we do. So I don't know what
I know, that's why I was a bit
thinking about it. We're
just
moaning
the
about
same,
it.
really.
Andreas comes over from Germany all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not that difficult, is it, to come to the games? Is it, no matter where you are?
the biggest problem is the tube strike on Friday. But
Oh yeah, there is.
yeah, I read
Yeah.
that one is cancelled, and it's only the drivers, but they will strike on Thursday and next Tuesday. So I think Friday should be okay. I was just looking for Elizabeth Line and Thameslink, etc. But as long as my British Airways flight arrives, and then I'm in the hotel, and I will manage to come to the Emirates. I will be there. Whatever
They'll probably bring a chauffeur for you. Don't worry. They'll pick you up from the hotel. They'll arrange it. I'm sure they will. So don't worry about it. They'll definitely get you there, regardless of the strike. Don't worry about that. But yeah, I mean, it's inconvenient, isn't it? Playing on a Friday anyway. It's not the best night to be playing. It's ridiculous, really, when you think about it. Football's always a weekend game, wasn't it? Saturdays is where it always was, and obviously I don't mind a Sunday game, that's fine. But midweek games are more difficult. It's almost like they think, well, no one's got nothing else to do in their life. Just to tick a game on a Friday night, it doesn't matter. It's a massive inconvenience to everybody, and unfortunately, we don't matter, do we? What matters is the money they get from the TV deals and advertising and everything else. Yeah, we don't matter, do we? They don't care if we go or not. They care if Andreas goes, obviously, because they lay on private jets for him and everything else. But they don't care if we go or not. They're not bothered with us normal people. Obviously, Andreas is treated differently, but that's fine. But yeah, Emerson says the match next Friday is on the YouTube channels. BBC or Sky are not showing it. Why is it on Friday then? I thought it was on Friday because it was going on TV. Why have they moved it to Friday? What's the reason for that? Is there any reason for that? Do we know? Are the men playing at the Emirates next weekend? No. Hang on,
the men have got 6 away games in the next 7.
Oh yeah, we're playing Chelsea away next weekend, aren't we? So no, we're not at the Emirates, are we? So yeah, I don't know. I know it's international break, isn't it? Is it a national break next week, or is it a week after? I can't remember that.
Oh, the men are playing away at Chelsea on next Sunday, 10th November.
So why have they moved this game to the Friday then? What possible reason is there for that? I thought it was because it was going on TV. I thought that was the whole point of it. It was on Sky or something. I thought that was...
So maybe it's because we are playing Champions League the week after on Tuesday away at Juve.
We could have played Saturday, though, couldn't we?
Yeah, we're playing Tuesday, so maybe it was our wish to play on Friday, to have one more day, because we have to fly to Turin, and yeah, one more day, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I know obviously Jonas complained about that, didn't he, when Chelsea's game got postponed before we played them in the Champions League they played and stuff like that. Whether that's maybe actually thinking about it, that actually makes sense, doesn't it? That does actually make sense.
Yeah, maybe it's Jonas that got it moved rather than Rene.
It was, yeah. Now Jonas has gone, so we could let's move it back to Saturday, make it better for everybody.
But I've arranged my flight.
well, no, you can still fly on Friday, can't you? With a Saturday game.
Yeah. Okay.
So it'll be all right, wouldn't it? Michael says, why can't you cover real Arsenal? Women's football is crap. Well, this is real Arsenal. We're one club. There's just different teams. There's a women's team and a men's team. It's still real Arsenal, isn't it?
And the canopy.
The quality is garbage. Well, it's not though, is it? Yeah, I bet you. I'll guarantee you this. You've never watched women's football, have you? You've not watched it, have you?
Yeah.
So why don't you? I'll tell you what, right? The game's on Sunday. It's on BBC Two, so you've got no excuses. Watch the game and then come back to us next week on the show and tell us if you still think the quality is garbage, because you won't, unless you just want to come on here and troll everybody. But if you're honest, you'll watch it and you'll enjoy it, because the quality of the football is really good. Is it as fast and physical as men's football? No, but no one's ever said it should be, and it won't be. It doesn't have to be. Go watch it, you'll enjoy it. It's not absolute trash at all. You haven't watched it. Obviously, you haven't watched it, have you? So go and watch it and come back to it. Spot there says Emerson. Terry says Chelsea Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. That's right. Yeah, next week. Then it's the international break after the Chelsea game, isn't it, for the men? There's and then we're playing. Aren't we playing at the Emirates that week as well, the women on the international? Yeah, we're playing. No, we're playing Tottenham away, aren't we? That's right.
North London.
Yeah, and then the week after it's international break again. So yeah, it's a lot of international nonsense going on as well, but we love it really. So yeah, it's going to be a big game on Sunday, of course, and we're going to enjoy it. We will, of course, be here for that. So it's 12:30 kickoff, isn't it? Something stupid. See, again, they're not thinking of fans travelling, are they? From London to Manchester on a Sunday to get there for a 12:30 kickoff, are they? They're not thinking of fans there either. Ridiculous. Play the games at a sensible time when people can get, not a good time for when a TV audience is there. No, for the fans in the ground, the people that's travelling to the game. They're the most important people. Because as we saw when COVID was on, if you're playing in front of empty stadiums, it's crap. All of it. So you've got to put the fans first.
Yep.
And
it's all about the money. If you see in other countries, it's the same. Just for example, Bayern Munich is playing on Monday against Frankfurt. It's first against second in the league table, and they are playing Monday at 6 in the evening. Most people are working until 5 or at 6.
Biggest game of the season so far.
How can you arrange the top match of this weekend? First against second on a Monday at 6, and then expect that everybody's coming to the same or is already at home and watching it. It's all about the money, and the money comes from the broadcasters and not from us fans. It's in every country, not only in England.
I know, yeah, absolutely. And this is what I'm saying. I mean, when there was no fans in the stadium, the product was nowhere near as good. But they don't care because they're still getting the money from the TV. So they're not bothered. The clubs aren't bothered, really. They might pretend to care about the fans, but they don't. All they care about is the TV money and the sponsorship money and looking after the people in the hospitality places and all that kind of stuff. The money they get from that. That's what they care about. They don't care about us in the actual proper fans that pay money to go and sit in the stands. They don't care about us. We're not important, not really. Because if we're not there, they'll sell the ticket to somebody else, or they'll sell the ticket to Ticketmaster at a profit of like 1,000%. So they don't care. And the sooner that everybody realises that the clubs don't care about the fans, is the sooner that we might see some changes. Because fans ultimately, if people didn't buy tickets and didn't buy merchandise, the club would have to do something. If nobody did, but it's all very well because all they'll do is they'll just they'll just sell the ticket to someone else. But if nobody buys them, no one buys shirts, no one buys the 50 million kits they bring out every year. That's when that's when the club will rethink how they do things. I'm sure that's the only way to do it, and it's the only way we'll get any change. But
Blackpool did it. Do you remember Blackpool? They
yes,
almost had a blanket where all the supporters did not go, or they'd go in for the first 10 minutes and then everyone left.
We played them in the FA Cup while all that was going on, if you remember.
Yes, we did.
And we went to the game, and we were talking to a lot of Blackpool fans outside and that, and they were talking about it. And it was like they wanted to get rid of their owners. That was what it was about, wasn't it? And they did it in a really good way because they boycotted the games, and that's the best way to get change. Is the best way. But unfortunately, too many people, too many of our fans in particular, but football fans in general, they only think of themselves. I'm not going to miss the game. I want to be there. That's what they think of, rather looking at the bigger picture, saying if everybody misses the game for 6 months, you will get positive changes that will help everybody. But people won't do it because they'd rather go and watch a 0-0 draw against Burnley than actually make a stand for what's right for the benefit of football in general. And people still keep subscribing to Sky. I'll keep subscribing to Sky, even though they're killing football. I'll keep subscribing to them. I don't like it, but I'll keep subscribing because I want to watch the game. Well, I'm sorry, but you're thinking of yourself. You're not thinking of the bigger picture. And that's what we all need to do. We all need to come together because we've got all the power as members of the public and people that pay money to these companies. We've got all the power. So let's use it. Let's all come together and say, no, football is our game. It's not yours. It's ours. That club isn't yours. It's ours. And we want it back. We want it back. We're never going to get it back unless we all come together. And I just don't think we will, which is a shame. But anyway, luckily, women's football so far is still just about above that level. Still, it hasn't quite sunk down to that yet. Yeah. But it's on the way. The new TV deal just been announced, hasn't it, this week?
Yeah.
With Sky. And we've seen what Sky has done to men's football. And unfortunately, women's football is going to go exactly the same way. And it won't be long before we're seeing, a £500 million women transfer fees. We're seeing the prices of the tickets in women's games going to 60 quid and all that kind of stuff. It's going to happen. Inevitably, it's going to happen. And we've been pushing women's football for so long to try and get more people involved, more people to watch the games, and it's going to come back and bite us because
the more people go, the more expensive it's going to be. It is.
Of course it is. And the more the money's going to take over. There's already I don't know whether you've seen it. There's a thing about there's a women's FA Cup starts this weekend in the qualifying rounds and stuff like that. Yeah. And there's two teams that started this campaign to say that there should be equal prize money for the men's FA Cup and the women's FA Cup, right? Which in principle sounds great, but in reality, men's football generates more money, a lot more money.
That's right.
Women's football does at this moment in time. So you can't just give them the same prize money because that's not equal. Because the men's game generate. Where's that money going to? If you're going to give equal prize money to women's FA Cup, where's that money coming from? Where's it being generated from? It's been generated from the men's game, right? Obviously, because the women's game's not generating that money, and that's not an equal, fair way of doing it, is it? You've got to do it. Women's football's got to grow at its own rate. It's no good pushing it and saying they deserve equal money, they deserve equal wages. Like Alicia Lehman said, well, I do the same job as my husband or my boyfriend, and he earns £100,000 a week. Well, of course he does, because he works in an industry that's got more money than yours. What do you expect to happen?
Completely. Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like if you're a taxi driver in London, you're not going to earn as much money as someone who's a chauffeur for the Queen or the King or whatever, because you do the same job driving a car, but it's a different. It's an industry with more money in it, so of course you're going to get paid more. It's
a question of economics.
Of course it is. It's just basic economics, well, isn't it? You don't even need a degree in economics to figure it out. It's obvious, isn't it? And you can't just suddenly throw money at something because something else has got money. I mean, I quite like if it did. I'd like to live in a £5 million house because someone else does. So why can't I?
Yeah.
I go to work every day. They go to work every day. They've got a £5 million house. Give me a £5 million house. That's fair. It's not fair otherwise, is it? That's not how life works, though, is it? Unfortunately,
absolutely.
That's not how life works. We have to accept that. LG says that Michael is just Joey Barton in disguise. Well, he might be, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt for now. He says, I just don't like it as I'm not woke. Women shouldn't play football, in my opinion. I'm old school. Call me sexist. I don't care. Men don't play netball, do they? Have it in America. Well, no, they don't. But it's a different sport, isn't it? women have always played football, and it's not an exclusively men's sport, is it? It's a sport that men and women have always played. And you might not like it. That's fair enough. You don't have to like it. I would say give it a try. Watch it more. And now it's changed.
Yeah.
If you watched it 20 years ago and you watch it now, it's massively different. Terry says, Michael, what Arteta team have you been watching? Not the same as everyone else. Greg says, usually anyone who says women's football is garbage either have never played or just don't understand football. Yeah, you're probably right, actually. Michael says, totally irrelevant. It's about tradition. Well, is it about tradition? Because women were playing football as far ago as men were, but women were banned from playing for a long time. That's the difference. Men haven't been banned from playing, so it's not about tradition, is it? Women probably played football before men did, because women would have had more time on their hands back in the day when men were building the country, building the world. Do you know what I mean? So you need to think of it like that. And Michael says, I apologise to your lady co-host. I wasn't trying to be offensive. Maybe I'm too old school. Well, no, you're not old school. You just. I mean, we're old school, aren't we? I mean, we're not young, are we? We grew up in a time when women couldn't even play football. When I was a kid, women weren't playing football because they were banned. So
70s, wasn't it? The 70s. When did he start? When did he lift the ban? Because, like you say, it was banned. It wasn't like they didn't do it. It was banned. You weren't allowed.
Yes, they banned it. Yeah. It was banned. That's what I mean. So
late 70s before they let them play again.
So it wasn't like when we were at school, girls didn't play football.
Well,
girls played. Yeah, you said girls played netball. Or girls did whatever else they did. They weren't allowed to play football, but now they are. So it's only right that they should. And that's the way it is, isn't it? Terry says, so why shouldn't real women play football? There's a lot of real men that can't play sport. So absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, exactly that. Terry says, and dress as a woman. Now that's I mean that's another issue completely, isn't it? I suppose. Let's hope football doesn't go down that route. Michael says, all I can say is that in my local area, when Arsenal and Spurs play, there is often fights to the death, which lasts weeks after. I've had my house set on fire. Would that level of rivalry happen in women's football? But do we want that? Does that level of rivalry? Does that sort of nonsense of setting someone's house on fire? Is that a positive thing? It's not, is it? Surely it's better that Arsenal women and Tottenham women, as we're going to find out in a few weeks, can play each other and fans can sit next to each other in the stadium and, share a drink together. Do you know what I mean? That's much more civilized, isn't it? Rather than having this tribal stuff. Oh, let's set fire to things. Let's have fights with everybody. That's not normal behaviour, is it? That's not good behaviour. So surely you should look at women's football and say the people that follow women's football are far more civilised. Because I mean, look at Ange. You wouldn't fight and set houses on fire, would you, Ange?
No, of course I wouldn't. Well, I've had the amp though with definitely the Chelsea ones irritate me. I'm not going to lie.
Well, they irritate all of us, though. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah.
Greg says, men's football is more like ballet dancing. They fall over if the wind is blowing. I look on it more as synchronized swimming, because the way that the men's football play, it's very synchronized, isn't it? So, that's what it's more like. It's not like football anymore. LG says, those women who shouldn't play football would absolutely cook you on the pitch. They would, yeah. They're not ordinary women. These are professional athletes. Exactly. They are professional athletes. Exactly right. I mean, yeah. That's exactly right. Terry says women's football is a family affair and not like the old days of men's football. Exactly, yeah. And Michael says, well, of course they would. I'm an overweight 50-year-old man who has drunk and smoked since I was 15. I'm very unhealthy and have multiple medical issues. Well, you see, there you go, So you shouldn't really be criticising athletic people, should you? Because they're able to do all these wonderful things that you could only dream of. So there you go. I'd probably have a heart attack playing a game of football on a proper sized pitch. Well, there you go. So surely you must have respect for these women that are just women to you. They're just little women who should be in the kitchen, and yet there they are. They can actually do loads of stuff that you can't do because you've lived an unhealthy life. Do you know what I mean? So maybe you should have more.
It's an entertainment as well. It's not just fitness, is it? It's entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. Greg says, ask the Lord how much a chauffeur earns. Well, of course, yeah. I mean, obviously, Andreas will. Well, he can ask the chauffeur to come and pick him up on Friday, can't he? He can ask the chauffeur how much they get paid. I'm sure they get paid more to pick Andreas up than they would to pick me or you up. But that's the way, isn't it? Michael says, okay, I'm obviously totally out of touch. Well, no, you're not out of touch. You just need to open your mind a little bit more to the fact that life in 2024 isn't the same as it was in the 1980s. I grew up watching football in the 1980s. I grew up going to away games, and you was lucky to come home in one piece. You know, you'd go to Liverpool or Manchester or Newcastle or somewhere, and you took your life in your hands, or Tottenham. You know, and that was all very well. And at the time, that was fine. And we loved it because it was part of growing up and it was part of life. But now, life's not like that. Is even in men's football now, you don't get the same kind of rivalry that you used to get, not to the same extent. You know, it's not like it was, which is a good thing. It's a positive thing overall, isn't it? And obviously, women's football is totally different. It's something that should be appreciated. Terry says, apologise, Michael, to our star end, and we're calling it a day. Plus, you need to hit the like button and sub and tune in every week and make new friends. Exactly, that's what you need to do, yeah. And Michael says, I apologise, Ange. Generally, I hope I haven't offended you. Has he offended you, Ange, or not?
No. I think Michael's having a bit of a laugh.
I have to say he probably is. Michael says, I have to admit, I don't like the way the men's game has gone. Exactly, you see, and this is what one of our points. One of the reasons why, I mean, you know, we've all grew up following men's football, right? All of us did, probably apart from Ange, because she's
no, I grew up in my younger days following men's football.
Of course you did. All of us did, right? We all grew up following men's football because that's what we did, because that's all there was, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right? But what's happened is modern men's football, as for me, is not the same. I don't enjoy it as much as I used to. And women's football at the same time has grown, and I enjoy that more. And it's just the way it's evolved. It doesn't mean that it's better or worse. It's just the way that it's going. And you know, I'm sure you know you've lost a little bit of that love for the men's game. You said there, Michael. So start following the women's game, because you'll get a lot of the stuff that the men's game used to have is now in the women's game. And that's why we love it. And it will change. And in 5-10 years' time, it will probably be the same. But at the moment, it's great.
Also, so Michael, I think you'll find watching the women's game that you get in the men's game, you don't get players rolling over doing a triple salto and look like they've been shot. The women, they just get straight back up again. And it will come into the women's game. I'm sure it will. But at the moment, Michael, if you actually watch the game, you'll see tackles getting in and players getting up and not rolling around like they've been decapitated.
And not trying to get other players sent off, not wasting time, not going for the corner flag with 15 minutes to go like Martinelli did last week against Liverpool. You know, you don't get the negativity that's taken over the men's game. And that's partly to do with the money and the pressure that there is. It makes it become more negative. The women's game is a lot more open and free. And yes, it's starting to become a lot more tactical, but it's still a lot more open and free than the men's game is. Yeah. And it's more enjoyable as a result of that. Much more enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Michael said, well, that would definitely be a benefit. The cheating in the men's game has got to shift. Exactly, it has. And the women's game doesn't have that. Not yet, anyway. So, diving, another thing. How often do you see in a women's game a player diving to get a penalty? I don't think I've ever seen it. I can't remember off the top of my head. It probably has happened. But I can't remember someone diving to win a penalty in women's football. Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It's honest. It's honest football. That's what it is. It's honest. Yeah. And if you love football and you love the purest form of football, you can't help but love women's football, because that's what it is. And you know, the dark arts, all that kind of stuff, which has been in the news lately, you don't get that in women's football, and it's much better for it. Anyway, Greg says, and also Michael, no VAR to really go. Well, there is in the Champions League, but there's not in the WSL, and let's hope it stays like that. But it won't. It's going to come in and ruin that as well, because it will. Of course it will. We've already got it in the Champions League. Yeah. That's what I liked about the Arsenal game the other night against Preston and the Bowl game. No VAR. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's just fantastic. I don't know why they don't realise that actually VAR has killed the game. Michael says there, VAR took a huge part of the excitement away. I do. Exactly, yeah. It has done. Like when the Liverpool game last weekend, when was it Mikel Merino's goal? They took 10 minutes to decide it was a goal. You can't enjoy the goal, because it's not the point of enjoying it when they're going to probably disallow it. And then they don't disallow it. You think, oh, for God's sake, they're giving it now. And it's 10 minutes ago we scored.
Yeah, it's gone. The moment's gone.
The moment's gone, yeah. Football's about those moments, isn't it? You know, the Michael Thomas moment. Imagine if that Michael Thomas moment at Anfield, if they had VAR and VAR said, oh, hang on a minute, we're checking the goal. And then they took 5 minutes to take the goal. Oh, we're going to give the goal now. Well, I don't care now. It mattered 5 minutes ago. Do you know what I mean? It would have just spoiled. All those big moments would have got spoiled by VAR. Even Aguero's goal would have got spoiled by VAR because they'd have probably checked that for a foul or something rubbish. Do you know what I mean? And it's killed the game. It has killed the game, absolutely. And we need to, and that's another thing we can do as fans. Don't support it. Don't go to games until they get rid of it. We don't want VAR. We don't want the Champions League in 50 million teams in it. We're not going to go to the games until you change it. That's what we should do, but we don't because I'll just go to the game.
And they're still not getting the decisions right anyway with VAR, are they?
No, because they're all incompetent buffoons. That's why. All you've got now is you used to have a referee. You know, when we grew up, there was a referee and there was 2 linesmen, right? Yeah. So you had 3 people. You had 3 incompetent people to make mistakes. Now you've got those 3. You've got a 4th official to hold a ball up. They can't even do that, right? And you've got another 25 in a studio somewhere. You know what I mean? You've got more idiots to make more mistakes. And that's what you're getting. I would just have one referee because if one person's making a mistake, at least it's only one mistake. It's not them being made 5 times, 6 times by other get Just let one person get it wrong. That's fine. We can take that. What we can't take is 50 people making the same mistake over and over and over and over and over again every single week. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Emerson says there last week, winner for West Ham, clearly not a penalty, although ex-referee on RefWatch said it was. Yeah, but don't listen to ex-referees because they're as bad as current referees, aren't they? That's the problem. Yeah. There's too many referees. And that now suddenly referees are getting these shows almost about them on Sky, aren't they? A referee show. What are you doing? What are you doing? We don't want to talk to these people. We don't want to have it's like you don't have, it'd be like having a TV show about traffic wardens. We don't want to speak to them. They're not human. They don't deserve a platform. You know what I mean? Stop giving them airtime. Christ, what are you doing? Get them off the telly. I don't want to see them. It's bad enough having to look at them for 90 minutes. I don't want to see him any other time when 90 minutes isn't on. And you've got that Dermot Gallagher guy who cheated us out of that 50th game. He's now giving opinions on bloody referees. I'm sorry, mate.
Yeah. And he's wrong.
Howard Webb. How many games did he cheat for Man United? Do you know what I mean? Come on. What is going on? Seriously, what is going on? Come on, guy. Get rid of all these clowns. We don't need them. Taking away the banter you used to have on a Monday at work over it. Exactly. I can remember even recently as probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, before VAR came in, we was at a game, Stoke away it was. We lost 1-0. Lacazette scored a goal that was disallowed in the second half. Would have made it 1-1. We were in the stadium. It looked like it was probably onside. Couldn't really tell. On Match of the Day, we watched it on Match of the Day when we got in, and they were debating it for 5 minutes. Oh yeah, it probably was onside. Should have counted, you know. And you're upset and you're angry, but then 5 minutes later you think, oh well, never mind. Next week we'll get one out, and it's done. But at least you experienced it live, and the game wasn't spoiled by them drawing lines everywhere or not drawing lines and taking 10 minutes to look at it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You just accepted decisions were wrong. Yeah, you talked about it on the way home in the car and that you thought, oh, we were robbed today. We should have got a draw. But then, you know, you go to McDonald's, you have a whatever burger and stuff and you've forgotten about it. You get on with your life. Now you can't get away from it because not only do you have it in the game to spoil it, they then talk about it on the telly for 4 hours and drawing pictures everywhere and get referees on to explain it. We don't care. You got it wrong. No one cares. Move on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Christ, it's ridiculous now. That's why I refuse to watch Sky. I absolutely refuse to watch Sky because it's just ridiculous, and I just can't be dealing with it. But anyway, this stuff, unfortunately, is the future of women's football. It is the future. It's coming, and it's coming quite quick. Terry says, Michael, you seem a good guy now. You've calmed down. I hope you have subbed and hit the thumbs up button because we want good people here with different opinions. Actually, yeah, no, I mean, Michael will be back. He'll definitely be back. He'll be watching a game on Sunday, the Arsenal women against Man United. Absolutely will. He'll enjoy it. He'll love it. And next week, he'll come on the show and say, I got it wrong. Women's football's brilliant. When can I buy a season ticket? That's what his next comment will be. Absolutely. Next week, you watch. Because there was someone else last week came and did the same sort of thing, and then they said, "Oh no, I'll watch it then." And now they love it, you see. So that's what you got to do. But anyway, Michael says it's like they are embarrassed to admit they made a mistake bringing VAR. Well, yeah, I think you're right. That's absolutely true. I think they are embarrassed because if they backtrack now, it look like they got it wrong, and they don't want to admit they got it wrong. So I think you're right. They can't back down now. They've got to stick with it, even however bad it is. Although having said that, it's not bad in Europe, is it? It works much better in Europe. Yeah, they seem to make it better. It's just us in this country that are just crap. Or are they corrupt? Who knows what's going on? I mean, what's it like in Germany, Andreas? The VAR in the league?
It's the same as in the Premier League. it killed every emotion. And when I watch a match from Bayern men's team, if they score, the first thought is it really a goal or will the VAR check? You can't jump up and celebrate because you have to wait. Is it a goal? Is it given? And yeah, I say the same. It kills the emotions. But let's get back to women's football. I think we discussed now for more than 2 hours. It's enough.
Yeah, it is. We sometimes put comments in the chat, draw us off on a tangent. LG says Jurgen Klopp recently said, "I love women's football. It's outstanding." Well, if Jurgen Klopp likes it, then it must be good, mustn't it? Because he knows what he's talking about. That guy. Greg says, "My missus wants to buy a women's Arsenal shirt. I'm finally getting through to her. So there's hope. Well, there's hope for all of us, Greg. If she's going to buy an Arsenal women's shirt, isn't there? So there's hope for all of us." Which is good. Michael's going to buy a Stina Blackstenius shirt after the game on Sunday. I'm sure he will. And you have to show us a picture of it when you do. Anyway, we have gone on stuff that wasn't really relevant to women's football, but it will be soon. And we'll be sitting here, I'm sure, in a few years' time discussing VAR decisions in women's WSL games. I remember that Champions League game, the Wolfsburg game, when VAR disallowed about 4 goals, didn't they?
Oh, God, no.
That was terrible, wasn't it? We was jumping up and down, saying, "Oh, that's disallowed, that one," and then, "Oh, that one's been given. Oh, well done. Oh, brilliant." Anyway, that's the future, unfortunately. But anyway, it's been a good show. Actually, I've enjoyed it. Andreas, have you enjoyed being with us tonight? We look forward to obviously seeing you next week.
Of course, I did enjoy the show, the discussion, and I'm looking forward to the next games. Yeah, it shows how interesting the WSL is when we have to talk about it 2 hours about the situation. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and looking forward to the next game, United and then Brighton, and hope to see a lot of our viewers at the Emirates for the Brighton game.
Yes, if you bump into Andreas, please say hello. He loves to meet you all. So if you do see Andreas at the game, definitely get a selfie with him as well. That'd be good, won't it? Although he's quite tall. Just bear in mind he's quite tall, so you might need to stand on a box.
Yeah, as I well know.
Indeed, you do. You didn't have to stand on a box, though, did you?
I know.
You was good. It's good to see you again, Angie. Okay, you enjoyed the show?
Yeah, no, it's all good. Shane back next Thursday. But I'll be in the chat. I'll jump in the chat. I can squeeze that in.
Yeah, we'll sort something out, I'm sure. And of course, on his debut, Mike, how have you found it?
Yeah, it's been a complete pleasure. Or I can talk about Arsenal any time of the day for as long as you want. Any time for me, as Ange knows.
Well, we all can, really, can't we? That's why we do this, because that's kind of what it's about, isn't it? If we couldn't talk about it, it'd be no point doing a show, would there? We'd be sitting there thinking, what do we do now? It's not good. Michael says, I'll be back again. Thank you, guys. We do cover the men's team as well, so don't you worry about that. It's not just the women's team. We do obviously cover the women's team, but I'll be here on is it Tuesday? No, is it Champions League on Tuesday? Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it? Champions League's Tuesday for the men, isn't it? Yeah, it's Tuesday night. Yeah, so I will be here for Tuesday night for the. I won't be here doing the game tomorrow because I'm sulky because I didn't get a ticket because Mike didn't get me a ticket. So I'm upset now. But I'll be doing the game on Tuesday. I'll be obviously the women's game Sunday. We'll be here for the game Man United at 12:15 Tuesday night for the Champions League game. It's Inter Milan against Arsenal. That's going to be interesting. So join me for that one, and I'm sure Michael will see you then. Greg says top of the league by the new. Of course, we'll be top of the league by. Before we get a new manager, we'll be top of the league. Before we get a new manager in place, you wait and see. Emerson says, great show. See you all next week. And for Greg in the chat, there are plenty in the Armory on side. There is, yeah. Go and grab a shirt at the Armory and give it buy it for your missus and get who should we got on the back? Get Leslie Russo on the back, maybe. Or Stina Blackstenius, of course, maybe would be the best option, really. But there you go. I will see you Sunday, guys, for the big game, Man United against Arsenal. Wow, that's going to be good, isn't it? We're going to win. I know. I can feel it inside. The excitement says we're going to win. We are going to win. It's going to be good. And of course, the men are playing tomorrow away at Newcastle. And if we lose that game, I won't be able to go to work for 3 months because it just won't be no fun. So we can't lose again. Last year was bad enough, so we can't lose again. Please do not lose tomorrow. If you can lose any game, don't lose that one because it makes my life a misery. So yes, that's going to be good as well. So I'll see you Sunday, guys. Thank you to Andreas, of course, as always, to Ange, and of course to our newbie Mike, a great show.
Pleasure.
Thanks for all your comments as well. Some brilliant comments there, actually. And in the end, we managed to get Michael on side, didn't we? He's going to be joining
I
us
think
again,
so.
which is great.
Yeah.
So there we go. So that's a positive as well, isn't it? We'll see you soon, guys. I'll see you Sunday. Come on, you guys. Let's have a good weekend, eh?
Come
2 big
on.
wins. Let's do it. Come on. Come on, you guys. Let's do it.